of the Village Board to order. All members present, and I would like trustee Mentor to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen. Welcome, everyone. We'll start off with the first item on the agenda. Is approval of minutes, the special meeting held on November 6th. Members that attended, please entertain a motion to approve the November 6th meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by trustee Filomeno, second.
I can second that motion.
Seconded by trustee Mentor. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye or abstain.
Aye.
Yes, abstain.
Abstain.
Aye. So.
Aye.
3 ayes. The regular meeting on November 17th. Take a motion to approve those minutes.
Make that motion.
Motion by trustee Filomeno,
I'll second it.
seconded by trustee Master Domenico. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye or abstain.
Aye.
Aye. Special meeting on November 21st. Take a motion to approve.
I'll approve it. I'll make that motion.
Motion by trustee Filomeno,
I'll second.
seconded by trustee Gregor. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye or abstain.
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Opposed, say nay. Mayor votes aye. And available to the public at no charge are the monthly reports of the Sanitation Department, Caldwell Sewer District, Planning and Zoning, Fire Department, Rec Center, 2025-26 OCTAX report, 26-27 OCTAX report, Wood Park calendar of events, Superintendent of Public Works, and our financial reports. Those will be, like I said, made available to anyone who wants them. So we go into parking meter discussion. We have John Holland from T2 Systems. We currently use a system called Passport, and want to give John the floor to give us a breakdown of what you can offer us that we don't have already.
Okay, so good afternoon, everybody, and thanks for asking me to come up here, Mayor. As you know, I vacation here frequently, so this is one of my favorite places on earth, coming up here to Lake George. Yeah, so just by way of introduction, you know, my background is law enforcement. I was a chief of police in Nutley, New Jersey. Show of hands, who's heard of Nutley, New Jersey? That's what I thought. Nutley, New Jersey is across the Hudson River from New York City. We're line of sight to the skyline of New York City. Little town, 3.4 square miles with 28,000 people or 30,000 people maybe today, all stuffed into that little area in New Jersey. So this is where I come up to relax, up in Lake George. So I met the mayor going back some months ago, and we had a little discussion about the parking enforcement here in the village. And 12 years ago, when I retired from the police department, I was hired by a company called United Public Safety. They were a family-owned business in Horsham, Pennsylvania. And I like to think they were an American success story. They wanted to build a parking enforcement system unlike anything the world had ever seen. Lofty goals, and they did so well, excuse me, that they were taking business away from some of the industry giants, and everybody took notice of that, including T2 Systems, which is the largest provider of parking management systems in North America. So about 3 years ago, United Public Safety was acquired by T2 Systems, so now we are a part of T2 Systems. T2 Systems, going back maybe 2 years ago, was acquired by Vera Mobility. Vera Mobility is on the New York Stock Exchange. So we went from a little company in Pennsylvania that developed some really terrific hardware and software to now run the New York Stock Exchange. I don't think we ever had more than 20 employees when we were United Public Safety. And now there's hundreds in T2 and thousands in Vera Mobility around the world. So some of the things that I want to talk to you about today, the mayor showed me the enforcement device that you're currently using. That's an interesting story too, because the owners of United Public Safety owned a company called Two Technologies, and Two Technologies built that device that you're still using. Your current device is obsolete by several years, and the reason it's obsolete is not because it was bad equipment. It's obsolete because it was put on the Verizon 3G network, which they took apart going back some years ago. So we lost the network that the device operated on, And except for a few people that are still using it on Wi-Fi, which you can do if you have a good enough Wi-Fi system, it's been retired. So that was generation one. The second generation was something that was called the Site Pro, which was similar to that in design, but the battery life wasn't what we wanted it to be. So the engineers went back to work and they came out with this new device, which is called the XF. The XF is the best device we've ever had. You would never wear out a battery in the course of a day. And I can say that with certainty because some of our larger customers, like the Parking Authority in Pennsylvania, we sent them several of these to kind of road test for us before we adopted this as our new unit. And in a matter of about a month, they kept the 3 that we sent them and ordered about a dozen more, you know, because they were so happy with the device. So you would not run into any battery issues with this. So some of the other things the mayor told me about is, you know, right now you have kiosks that I guess are all configured as pay and display. I think all of them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to do pay and display anymore. You know, all of the new systems today are pay by plate. And I know we all forget our license plate, so the Allentown Parking Authority gave out little tags where you could write your license plate on and put it on your key ring, which I thought was kind of a good idea. I take a picture of my license plate, just put it on my phone, you know, because every place I travel where you do pay by plate, I have to think, what's my license plate number? Because I never remember it. I can tell you the license plate number from my 1972 Corvette. I cannot tell you what's on my car today. That's just the way it works. But anyway, you're going to want to switch to pay by plate. That's the latest technology. It's the most efficient way to do it. And fortunately, our systems integrate with all of the kiosk providers. Now, the mayor has told me you're using IPS, and I think you're going to continue to do that. And you're going to have them switch those machines over to pay by plate.
Right.
So the good news is we integrate with them, you know, and going back to our roots back at United Public Safety, we were an enforcement company. We didn't sell kiosks. We didn't have all the extra things that companies have today. So we had to partner with all these other companies to make kiosks. And we've carried that same tradition forward. So, you know, we are already integrated with IPS and all the other major manufacturers of kiosks. So one of the things we can offer you is improved devices, obviously. We integrate. So when your enforcement folks are out in the field, if they're enforcing in the area of a kiosk, they have to know who's paid for parking and who hasn't, right? If they're going to ticket people. So we're integrated with all the kiosks. The information from payments comes to the device. Usually I have an overhead or something here, so I'm a little, you know, hindered in that sense that I can't show you step by step how this works. You're going to take my word for this. But on the device itself, you know, we get a feed from all of the kiosks that tells the enforcement officer who is paid for parking and who hasn't. It'll show them how much time they have remaining, okay? And they can also filter it to show only the places that are in violation. And that's after all that's what they care about, right? They want to go after the cars that are in violation. So that information comes to the handheld. We also have something called permitting. Permitting is a part of our system. And I talked a little bit about this with the mayor. Where your future is with permitting, I'm not quite sure at this point, but I can tell you this, permitting is a thing everywhere, everywhere. We have towns contacting me. All they want to do is permitting. They don't care about enforcement. They want to issue permits. For the New Jersey folks that are here, remember Flemington, New Jersey? Flemington, New Jersey was a big tourist attraction
my grandma
at the time. Turntable Junction, I think it was, right? And kind of fell into urban decay. Now it's coming back. One of the problems they anticipate is parking, you know? Now they have to worry about parking. They contacted me. They just want to do permitting with us. So they just signed a contract with us. So we're going to provide them only with our permitting system. So they're going to do that. For you, I mean, there's all kinds of examples of permitting that I could talk to you about. Gettysburg, Pennsylvania is one of our clients. In fact, it's the first town I ever sold our system to, probably 10 years ago. And I like to think that we do a lot of places that I would call tourist economies. That was the first one I ever sold, was Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Parking enforcement for them is the #2 source of revenue for that town. They make more money on parking. The only thing that makes more is property taxes, which is kind of what you would expect it to be, right? But the other money that keeps that town afloat comes from parking enforcement. If you ever went on their website, and all you have to do is Google the borough of Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, click on their parking department and you will see dozens of parking permit types that they sell. They sell weekly permits, monthly permits, resident permits, all business permits, you name it. Take a look at it sometime and see the different types of permits you can build using our system. Pelham, New York just did the same thing. Pelham has all kinds of permits. You could look at their website as well.
And John, what was
Yeah.
that, Hope? What was the acronym, Hope permit?
Oh, yeah, so in Pelham, New York, the manager out there, he was one of these guys, he just hit the ground running. I mean, from the time that I first showed him the system to the time they signed up with us was 30 days. That never happens. That was fastest acquisition we ever had. And probably within another 30 days, he had built all kinds of permits, you know, that he put up for sale on the Village of Pelham's website. One of them is called the Hope Permit, HOPE. What that stands for is the Hardship Overnight Parking Exemption. They have no parking on any city street, you know, between the hours of, I don't know, 1 and 6 in the morning or something like that. My town had it too. Probably most of the tickets I ever wrote during my career were for overnight parking. It's a great law. It's a great crime prevention tool. When I worked the midnight shift, if there was a car in the street that didn't belong there, you may as well put a red flag on it. I would know it and I would investigate it. So I'm a big believer in online parking. With this caveat, my town was incorporated in 1902. In 1902, if you had one car, you had a lot, right? Today, if you have 2 kids and there's mother and father in the home, you have 4 cars. On a 50 by 100 lot that only has 1 driveway, what do you do? So a lot of towns now are looking at permitting as a way to keep the all-night parking law, but put some type of a permit on these cars that have nowhere else to go, you know? And very often what they will do is they'll have their code enforcement department go out and certify, yep, I checked the property, there's only parking available for 1 car or maybe 2 cars. They do have 4 cars registered to that address, and they will make those cars eligible for hardship overnight parking exemption permit. Something to think about. You don't have that here, right? You don't have overnight parking. But-
No, I mean, we don't really enforce it, and the
Yeah.
back street, only in a snow emergency. If there's a snow emergency, we don't want any cars on the street, but
Right, yeah,
overnight parking, I mean, it kind of,
yeah.
we let it slide because of that type of
Sure.
hardship where there's 2-car driveway.
Absolutely. So the permits, like I say, it's becoming a thing, you know, nationwide. We see it as a company that specializes in parking enforcement around the country. All kinds of permits are now coming out to solve a multitude of problems that you might have. You can issue resident-only parking permits. You can issue business permits for your business community. You can do all these things. And the importance of that is these devices that we use to write our tickets. First of all, I should say New York is my favorite place to do enforcement because New York was smart enough to do this on your windows. Barcode. Our devices read that barcode. It pulls all the information from the barcode into the ticket. Your officers don't have to write everything down. It pulls everything out of this. Once we do that, our system will also check that license plate. Is there a permit associated with that license plate? If it is, it displays on the handheld. So the enforcement officer is going to know right away, hey, this guy's got a permit. You sure you want to give him a ticket? Well, maybe, you know, maybe he's got a permit to be in a parking lot, but he's parked next to a fire hydrant, for example, right? So, but they're going to get that information. They're also going to get what we call a scofflaw notification. Has this guy been parked? Has this guy been ticketed a dozen times? And then does he have all these outstanding tickets he hasn't paid? And so it's going to display here. The enforcement officers will know that. So it's so easy. I wrote this ticket for the mayor a little while ago just to demonstrate. This is what our tickets look like. I kind of mocked it up to look like the Village of Lake George ticket. They're polyvinyl. They're not paper. You try to rip it, you can't for the most part. And you can put it out in the snow, and I know you get some snow up here once in a while, so you can put this on the window and it will not be affected by water, snow, or anything else. So what other things do you want to do with parking enforcement, you know, for the efficiency of the town? We have a collections agency as part of our company. It's not external. If you want it to, you know, it becomes a free service as long as you pass the cost of the enforcement, the cost of the collections onto the violator, where it belongs. They caused a mess in the first place. They got a ticket. They didn't pay it. Why should you pay for the collection cost? You elevate the fine on the ticket by the cost of collections. If we're successful in collecting on that ticket, you know, the original fine amount gets wired directly to the village's bank account. It's a beautiful thing. A lot of people in New York are using that. And I recommend it because it takes that away from your courts. They don't have to worry about chasing the money on these tickets forever and ever. And we'll also go back 3 years. If you have unpaid tickets going back a period of 3 years, we'll go after that for you too. And we have literally recovered millions of dollars for our clients around the country on tickets that were just gathering dust, literally. You know, nobody was trying to collect on them until we got them, and then we went after it and we were able to recover a great deal of money. So that's just another service that we have. But what else can I tell you, Mayor? Help me out here. What are the things-
No, you hit all the high points, the communication of from when they enter it into the pay and display as to when it's referenced
Right.
on the handheld. You said it
Right.
was 30 seconds?
Oh, it's real time. It's real time. You know, soon as it's paid, goes right out to the handheld. And the other thing is, I mean, one of the things we try to do is make it easy for people to pay tickets, right? A couple of things I think enhance that. One of them you already have. There's something about an electronic ticket. And one of the things I think we do differently is we put a photograph of the violation on the ticket, right? Now, you can take up to 12 photographs. You'll never do that, you know, for a parking ticket. We always say take one, possibly 2 or 3. There's something about taking this off your window and seeing your license plate looking back at you that kind of gets people a little nervous. They know they've been captured electronically. They don't know where the information is going next, and they don't want to find out. So they go to the bottom of the ticket where there's a QR code. If they scan this QR code with their cell phone, it takes them right to the payment page. Gettysburg has told me for years, they see their tickets being paid within 30 minutes of being issued. And why? You did that already.
Yep,
Yep.
and you're already late.
Yep. You know, right to the
Your
payment
your
page.
ticket's up to $77.
Stealing my thunder here, you're right. But yes, that's right. So that's one of the ways you can pay the ticket immediately, right? Or, you know, you can still do it the old fashioned way. People can still come here or to your court to pay them in person. But what we see is about at least 70% of tickets are paid online if you give people the ability to do that. And we do, you know, we would create a parking portal, and I know nobody's gonna be able to see this well, but I'll show you anyway. So we might do for you a parking portal that looks something like this. I took that picture off the internet because I thought it looked like a nice picture for you. This is,
It's one of our pictures from Facebook, yeah.
that's right, when you pictures Facebook. So this would be where people would go to pay their parking tickets, go our portal. And if you're like everybody else, you're gonna see at least 70% of your tickets paid that way, which only leaves 30% to pay it in person or send in a check or a money order. There's some towns, like Beacon, New York. When I sold the system to Beacon, New York, they said, we don't want anybody coming into our building, period. I was like, you don't? They said, no. So we actually take mailed payments they send to us. They don't want anybody going into the building. They don't want to take, all they want to do is write the tickets, basically, and they're done. They don't want to do anything else. So we accommodated all that. We have all those services. I'm not necessarily recommending that, you know, I think it's still a good idea to let people come in to your local court, you know, and make their case there. But if you wanted those type of services, we do that as well, so.
We do want to reduce the foot traffic in the courts.
sure.
There's 2 women there and they get verbally abused on a daily basis, in the summertime. And I would like to have their lives be a little easier. And I think most of the reason that you're here and a lot of the reason that, we have some other guests, is we're trying to go back to the year-round or the seasonal parking. I want to, the way I'm looking at it and the way I think you can help us is if we reduce our inefficiencies, we have
Yeah.
some severe inefficiencies and Keith can attest to that. And with, you know, like by going to pay by plate rather than
Oh, for sure.
the pay and display, which
Yeah.
we'll have to change a bunch of signage, but we only have to do it once.
Right.
It's much more efficient because if this pay and display here is out of paper, then you just walk 50 feet to this pay and display. And people will go, oh crap, and they'll go to the next pay and display. And well, now you gotta go all the way back to your car to put this thing on when you were going that way to begin with. So if you just enter your plate, it's much more efficient, not a waste of paper, nothing's
Sure.
littering anything. And that's one less thing that can go wrong. We found that coins and credit cards work the best. Bill acceptors are garbage. At least twice a day they need to be cleaned. I owned soda machines for years and
Yeah.
I was constantly wiping the photoelectric cells or the eyes on them. So we got rid of bills, so it's just coin and credit cards
Yeah.
now.
And you're also supplemented with Park Mobile.
Park Mobile
You know,
is,
you
is
have a
another
very good,
efficiency that has
Yeah,
helped.
you have a very good pay by phone app, where people can pay for parking using their cell phone, We also integrate with them. So if somebody pays for parking through Park Mobile, as I showed the mayor earlier this afternoon, we have something on here that's called meters. So all of the feeds, whether it's coming from a pay station or it's coming from Park Mobile, it's right in the hands of the parking enforcement officer. So they're always gonna see, who's paid for parking and who hasn't. So it makes it very fast and efficient, for them to enforce the law, basically. It's so important. I mean, I worked for a municipality for 41 years, and I wrote a lot of tickets by hand in that period of time. When I became chief of police going back some years ago, the best thing I ever did for that town was go to electronic parking enforcement, unquestionably. The efficiency, if you think about, and you're not there, you're a step beyond that. But so many of the towns I go to, they're still handwriting parking tickets. When they handwrite a parking ticket, they take it into headquarters, they give it to a clerk who has to sit there all day long, take the same information, put it into a computer, because how do you keep track of all those handwritten parking tickets? So there's a lot of efficiencies today that have evolved over time with the parking enforcement industry. I mean, when I was a young police officer, I used to think parking enforcement amounted to handwriting a ticket, putting it on a window, and you were done. Then I retire, I get hired by United Public Safety initially, then we became T2, now we're on the New York Stock Exchange. And you find out that it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. We do the gated systems for parking garages that we've all seen with the arms and all that. We do that. We do kiosks. We do a pay-by-phone system. And of course, we do enforcement. So you have a system in place, and that's good. I think we can bring some refinements to that with better equipment and certainly a system that I think, what's really important, what's important to me is that the people who use the system like it. That's a mistake I made very early on when I became a police chief many years ago. I would see a system, think it's the best thing since sliced bread, and I would buy it without getting proper buy-in from the people that were gonna use it. And if the people that are gonna use it don't like it, they'll make sure it fails. There's no question about that. So it's very important to me, when I come out to the town, I want the parking enforcement officers to like what we give them. And everybody pretty much does, and that's what makes it easy to sell, I think. So,
Like I said, if we can reduce our inefficiencies and make the tourist season or the summer season or the on season more profitable, like we make $80,000 roughly, give or take, in the off season from say Columbus Day to Memorial Day.
right.
And that's without any enforcement. That's just people happen to pay or they use the app. And Sasha Party, who's in the audience with us, had given us a very comprehensive list, and I applaud you for that. Thank you. Showing that since we started year-round charging for parking year-round, which our local law says it's in like the main zone, she has seen a decline in foot traffic in her business. Now that is also probably related to the economy. But there's it's not nothing. So, and we're taking that into account. That's why I wanted to switch to a system that is much more efficient when it needs to be. And if we, as a board, decide to suspend the off-season parking, we have more information to go on and more efficiencies that we can rely on, that we're not gonna lose that money.
Yeah, and we see that. I mean, we see, one of the places that uses the system is a little island in one of the Great Lakes called Put-in Bay. Anybody hear of Put-in Bay? Have you been there? Okay. So Put-in Bay is a party town, I gather, and everybody goes out and that's because we weren't there because I know some of the things that go on out here in Put-in Bay. But anyway, they use our system out there, and they only have golf carts for the most part, and they're all licensed. The first question I had was, you have license plates on these things? They said, oh, yeah, so they use our system out in Put-in Bay. And it's just one of the many places that we do business. But they shut off their kiosks in the off season. Who goes to Put-in Bay, an island in the middle of the Great Lakes in wintertime? Probably not so many people. So they shut down their kiosks, in the off season. York, Maine does the same thing. You don't swim in York, Maine in February. That I can tell you. So, we have a lot of customers that, customize the system for what they need it to be. If you don't want to use it in the off season, shut it down, you know? And like with art, we sell kiosks too, and if people wanna shut off the kiosk services in the off season, we do that. You know, we stop charging, you know, for the kiosks until the season starts again. So there's a lot of different options. I mean, you have to make it work for you. I mean, any parking system is only as good as what it does for the community, right? I mean, you know, you're looking out for your residents, you're looking out for your businesses. And of course, you don't want to hit your visitors over the head with a hammer either. You know, you want to treat your visitors, you know, fairly. And that's all part of a good parking enforcement system. You know, you want people to perceive it as being fair, you know, in getting parking spaces. So.
Well, thank you, Chief Holland, for your time. I'm glad you came in before I left for vacation, went to Disney twice in a year. I met with one of our locals, business owner, John Carr. And this is something that's bothered me for quite a while. It's also other business owners is adding on more fees to our visitors when we're fighting to get every visitor through the door right now. It feels like an extra tax. And that's an ugly word no one ever wants. So, for board approval, I'd like to make the motion. Let's change that and not charge during the off season. I think that's the best way moving forward, and the most honest plan is to change it. I know there's local law that we need to change. So
We budgeted for that.
we'll budget it through.
Yeah, so we'll be moving forward from this year on, not, we can't start this year yet.
How would I make a motion for? I know we have to change the local law.
Yeah, we do. We actually have it.
The way it would work is you would set a date. You could make the change in the law, you can set the date for an effective date. I would recommend, obviously, with the new budget, June 1st kind of thing.
Mhm.
Starting June 1st, the new law takes effect, blah, blah, blah. But you could get it in place now.
Change.
Yeah.
This, and we could change other local laws in the same.
In the same
Okay.
vein, yeah, I mean, November 1st is a good stop date, or Columbus Day if we want to go by holidays. And then Memorial Day, so we can either go by holidays or by the date. Holidays move, obviously Memorial Day is not the same date every year, and neither is Columbus Day. They're on or about the same date, but I would recommend if you're willing to cater your motion to it, then I would do that, starting next year, only because we have
New
budgeted
budget,
revenues
Right.
already coming in.
The logistics of it is you'd write the law as you'd want it to present, then you present it to the public. And then they'd have a month to look at it, and then the
Mhm, yeah.
following month you would vote on it.
Yeah, so we'll issue a public hearing,
And-
or
but
open a
you can
public
make it for
hearing.
a specific date to take effect.
So it's not really a motion then, we just have to.
Discuss it.
I just think we're all I mean, maybe we're all in agreement here with that.
We are, but I don't think we can just change, I don't think we can just vote. on
Yeah,
it.
just
So,
do it.
yeah,
No,
I think
we
we need
can't
to have
change
a
it.
public hearing.
Yeah, there's a little more to it, but you know, the business community has spoken, we've listened, and we're ready to act on it, in the next budget year.
The good news is that it gives us enough time. I mean,
It's
realistically,
a
it's not
time to
gonna work on
advertise
something.
it too, and that was one of the things I believe, thought I saw John Carr here.
Yep.
There he is. He had said we could publicize it. Gina Mincer had said the same thing. We could publicize, hey, guess what? No more parking in the off season and hats and horns. Yay, Lake George.
Hopefully tied into something bigger also. I mean, we're
Yeah.
hoping for the winter, like George comes.
John, what's the quote that Saratoga used? When, was Saratoga, was it with the parking?
Yeah, that was, they announced that in September, I think it was like September 15th. It was, you know, no fees. You know, I would suggest, I don't think we have a bright winter ahead of us.
Yeah.
I would say if you have to give you have to give a 30-day notice. I'm not sure about the timeline with the APA or if that's even affected by this. And then you guys can vote and it can become something that could happen in a matter of 60 days. I would strongly encourage not waiting and look for other revenue sources within this gentleman's time out or other ideas to try to offset that revenue that's lost, but you know, that would be something I think would be very helpful. for Winter Carnival.
The timing of it is important because we don't get a lot of time from the Memorial Day to June 1st, our new budget. So there's monies coming in, but Laura had brought up a good point And a suggestion, and if you don't mind me sharing your suggestion, is any of the businesses that want to help, sponsor a cover with, like a cover for the pay and display. Parking in this area is sponsored by the Marriott, or parking in this area is sponsored by the Adirondack Winery. That's something that we could work together to have created and printed, and probably won't charge you very much. Sasha?
Okay, thank you. I'm very concerned about this winter. Our first 2 weeks in December, our foot traffic was down 44%. That was over, already way down last year and the year before that. There is nothing going on this winter. The only thing going on is the Winter Carnival. We also have construction happening right across the street from our business and some other businesses that are typically open and benefit from, you know, even just the Winter Carnival, right? So, I'm very concerned about the impact that will have on our business already. I would like to make it to next winter, to be honest with you, and be open next winter. I'm already having to cut back my hours significantly. I think putting some great PR out that like, and I understand you guys have financial limitations, so, and I'm not aware of all of those. But even if it was something that was tied to Winter Carnival alone, like just to be able to have that PR out there that like, this is an amazing event and come experience it for free. I think especially because all that construction going on is really gonna hamper businesses on the strip from that point going up. So anything that you could do to make a change for this winter would be, I think, very much appreciated by any local business. And I hope that it benefits all of us by, you know, sales tax dollars, I guess I would say would be one thing. That we could generate more revenue and, you know, continue to be healthy. The other thing I do want to bring up in consideration of this is it makes me cringe a little bit, the idea of having to sponsor parking meters, because I can't afford to do any advertising right now, like I used to be able to do because my foot traffic's down so much, except for example. So like affording that is a little bit disconcerting. And then in addition to that, I just want to bring up some signage points. So, you know, you brought up that you make $80,000 without it being enforced, right? So to me, that really leaves a bad taste in the mouth of the visitor when they find out, like it happens, they come in and they're like, oh, hey, I had to pay. And then the person next to them is like, oh, you didn't have to pay. And it just leaves a bad taste in people's mouths. And, I think signage is important. So whether it's something that they can be turned off or whatever, completely great. PR is the other way to do that. And then I do also want to bring a specific attention to, Westbrook Road outside the Festival Commons grounds. There's the opposite side of the street that's like dirt, but you do charge there. And it's just so poorly signed that like people were literally flaming angry about parking tickets they were getting. In excess of, you know, $80 and more. And like, it just creates an environment where people don't want to return. And that's the last thing that we want. We want people to come back because they have an amazing time in Lake George and they're telling everybody how amazing it was. So, just a couple extra points that I would.
Yeah, and I know the spot or the side of the road you're talking about. It is signed very
It's
extensively
not-
that there's no parking. It takes one person to park either the wrong way or on
Yeah,
that side
they
where
don't
they're
follow
not
stuff.
supposed to be, and then the floodgates open. I got a call from the meter enforcement kid. He's a friend of my son's. He said, there's like 40 cars here
Yeah.
and they're all parked illegally.
Yeah.
And, you know, my response to him is, how's your battery, Sam? And he said, it's full. I just left the shop. Go to work. Because they're not supposed to park there.
Right, so I don't know if it's
So
more signage
whether
or what.
because monkey see, monkey do, that's no parking. It's not safe. The road's not wide enough, and frankly, they have the risk of falling into the brook.
So it's not, so if they're not supposed to park there, then it needs to be more clear
It
somehow.
is, and that is not our road. We patrol it for the town, but the town and the county are working on a wooden guardrail system that is gonna be installed. supposed to have started in the fall, but it will be completed in the spring. I have every assurance from them. But yeah, that was a kind of a bone of contention on our part is that I saw people parked
Oh, yeah.
perpendicular to the street. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, that is, it is, and I can understand when people get mad. People get more mad at getting a parking ticket than they do at a murderer.
Yeah.
John, you had a better example than that, but.
I always used to say, murderers come quietly, it's those parking violations.
Yeah, right.
They will wrestle you to the ground every
Yeah.
single time. They
Yeah, and
always-
we've had, we had the largest young man we've ever had working for us. Get accosted by 6, he said biker looking dudes, but I mean, I've always thought bikers were pretty friendly, but anyway. He gave up the job. The kid could bench press a Volkswagen. And he called his mom and said, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's a legitimate reason we charge for parking.
So not to focus on that as much as I do think how important it is to make it clear that if we're not charging for parking and we're not enforcing it, that is a very friendly and obvious message to the visitor.
Yeah, just the speed at which we can do it, we'll work on, after, I mean, we hear you and we agree.
Yeah.
But we'll do our best. And as far as like the printing, the only thing I would have would be a screen printing parking. So it's not a major expense and
Okay.
it's not likely we'd really charge you. It's that was a joke.
Okay, good to know. I mean, we'll see, right?
John, if I could bug you on this, because it's been obviously, big shock that, the economy is the topic, right? The economy is stupid, it's all with politics and government, whatever else. And I completely agree that the less we can do, the less we can charge people, the happier they are, right? As taxpayers as well as guests and visitors and whatnot, and we're charged with trying to balance all of this. So one thing that the mayor was referencing was these ideas of potentially your system creating efficiencies that don't exist currently. Is there a document out there that can be produced, something where we can see side by side currently versus what T2 can do for us, and then how that would benefit from a financial standpoint? Because to Sasha's point, we don't want to have to raise revenue through parking and tip people. I think piss people off is a term used, and I agree. But if we can find those savings without cutting service, well, that's just as good as making $1, right? That satisfies scratches both itches.
So to contrast our system with what you're currently doing.
Yeah, with
where the
Passport.
where the savings are.
Yeah.
So, the company that you're using right now, their business model has always been to take a percentage of your parking revenue. And in my experience, it's considerable. I don't know what your percentage is here, but I've seen percentages. And one of the most recent customers we have is Glens Falls, right next door. They were paying, I believe, 22% of their parking revenue was going to Passport. And then there's other fees in addition to that, but that's their base way of doing business. We don't do that. We've never done that. We license our system on a per device basis. So, depending on the number of these that you're using, we charge you proportionately. The difference being, you're going to have a fixed number with us. You're always going to know what it is, so you can write as many parking tickets as you want or not. And the fee from us is always going to be the same, where with Passport, it's considerable. And, just in New York alone, you mentioned Saratoga, I think is it the Springs, Saratoga Springs? They were using the same company and now they're using T2. Hudson, New York was using them and now they're using T2. Beacon, New York was using them and now they're using T2. Saranac Lake has been a customer of ours for a number of years as well. In New York alone, I think 6 municipalities have switched from Passport to us because they like our business model better. It's better to know a fixed cost. You know what you're going to be dealing with every year. That's not going to change versus, taking 22% or, and I would leave that to you gentlemen to check and see what your percentage is because it has varied. I've seen it 27% in places in Connecticut that they charge. And, it's a big difference. I mean, and nobody knows that better than you. When I went to Glens Falls,
21%.
I started the conversation with Glens Falls, and as soon as they looked into what they were actually paying Passport, they made the switch in about 30 or 45 days or something like that. So, you know, again, it's up to you to look at that, you know, you'll see what the efficiencies are using a system with fixed costs versus something that's gonna be taking a percentage revenue. That's not our business model. We don't do that.
Following up on that, so if we go through with not having, winter park, we're not gonna be winter parking enforcement, right? Would we still be getting charged monthly for those things that we're not using, or?
Well, the only thing we can shut off would be our kiosk services, you know, the enforcement licensing, because we don't take a percentage of your revenue. And I don't know, I think I gave the mayor an example of using 2 devices at the same time. I don't know if you would exceed that or not. Would you have more than 4 enforcement officers working at any given time?
No.
No. So if you only have 2, you're probably looking at an initial cost in the first year, and then you have it, Mayor, I think it's probably around $16,000 to start for the first year. And that's only because in the first year, you're gonna have one-time expenses. You buy these from us. Where Passport, I think you pay a monthly fee for theirs. I mean, that's the way they used to do it. I think they're probably doing that here. You know, you buy these in the first year, and you own them, and we maintain them. You know, we're one of the few companies in this business that actually maintains the hardware. And why do we do that? Because the company that manufactures these things used to be a part of our company. Now, they sold that off years ago so that we could focus on software, but we still have a relationship with the manufacturer, unlike any other company, you know, and we will maintain these things for you. So I think there's a lot of advantages to it. I mean, I would never, as a municipal employee, I would never have wanted to get into a revenue sharing situation. You know, it's just too unstable. You don't know from year to year how much you're gonna be losing in revenue.
Yeah,
versus-
I think the reason we went with Passport, and predates my time, is because they were the only ones. At the time when we started that, there wasn't a lot of choices out there.
And if you're like a lot of these other places in New York, there was a company in Tarrytown, New York, and it was called ComPlus. I don't, did you start out?
We
with
did
Com-
start out with them, yeah.
Okay, so ComPlus was a New York company. They were in Tarrytown, and everybody liked them. I knew those guys, you know, I used to see them out at all the trade shows, and everybody pretty much liked them very much. They got acquired by Passport. Passport installs their software on all of the ComPlus clients, and a lot of people aren't happy with that. So, you know, many of them have switched over because they just don't like that business model. And just to finish the thought I had, in the first year, you're gonna pay one-time expenses. We have to build the cloud software specific to your town. We do that one time and one time only. In the second, third, fourth year into the future, as far as I can see down the road, I think it was about, it's about 8,000, Mayor, you have the paperwork, I think that.
Yeah.
They give you work. So in the first year, you're gonna be paying roughly 16, I think, to get you up and running.
Right.
And after that, it's about 8,000 or something like that.
Mhm.
That's your ongoing expense. Now, the only thing in addition to that is if we send out warning notices for you, a lot of towns do warning notices, like, are you doing that now?
We did for a period of time. Actually, you know, people got more mad about the warning notice than they got getting a ticket.
Yeah.
It was the funniest thing. I brought it back. Joe, you remember, if I brought it back the first year, so 2 years ago. Because I liked it. I thought it was like, oh, wow, I didn't get a ticket. But people called the office more. What is this that I got? And it says it's a warning,
Yeah.
you know, but people were more mad about the warning.
I euphemistically call it a bad boy letter. It's a reminder, hey, you got this ticket here in Lake George, you never paid it, you know, so this is an attempt on our part, just a friendly reminder, you know, we would appreciate it if you now pay the ticket. Now, our system is configured in such a way that you can print those letters out yourself and mail them, or for $1.30, we'll do it for you. The $1.30 includes the price of the stamp, which now is about 70 cents, I think, or something like that for a first class stamp. So, and a lot of places have us do it because they just don't want to tie up their staff, you know, stuffing envelopes and sending them out. Or some towns don't do it at all, you know, they just skip that step. And as I mentioned to the mayor at some length earlier, we have a collection service. If people don't pay their parking tickets, especially in a vacation destination, right? We do so many vacation destinations around the country. People will get a ticket, and they go home. And they say, I'm not gonna go, I'm not maybe going back to Lake George for another couple of years, so I'm not gonna worry about this ticket. Well, we will follow it for you, you know, we can extract unpaid tickets from your system, send it to our in-house collections agency, and they'll go after the money for you, and they're very, very good at what they do. I know for Batavia, New York, in a very short amount of time after they signed up with us, we recovered $20,000 in old tickets. And I'm talking about tickets that go back 3 years. So if you're sitting on unpaid tickets over the last 3 years, we'll go after that for you. And they're very, very good at what they do. They're much higher than the average collections agency. And we do it in a kind of gentle way because we represent you, right? You know, we represent Lake George if we were to do collections for you. So, you know, we'll send that, we'll make phone calls, we'll send out letters and say, hey, you know, you got this ticket in Lake George, you obviously forgot to pay it, and now there's certain fees attached to that. But
Thanks. Laura, you had something?
I just had a couple of questions just to clarify. So we make $80,000 per year in parking and enforcement total.
No.
No,
That's during the off.
That's just the off season. We have no enforcement.
That's
in
what
the
we
off season.
generated
That's
last
what we
year.
generated last year, yeah.
You know,
First year was 60,000 and it kind of went up from there,
just from November 1 to May 15th.
roughly, yes.
Give or take. Okay, and then I'm wondering what the breakout is between parking revenues, people pay their bill versus then the ticketing after the fact. Is that the 80,000 is all inclusive?
That's what we received.
We didn't issue many tickets, so the
Okay.
enforcement part, the only time we'll write a ticket in the off season is when someone's parked the wrong way, which drives me banana sandwich.
Every day on Holly Drive.
Yeah.
Right outside my house.
And also when they're parked in front of a hydrant or illegally parked, so.
I guess then the follow, even in during season, I'm just out of curiosity, what's the percentages? Is it 80% people paid their bills that they were supposed to, and it's 20% enforcement?
Yeah,
That's a great question, by the way. A lot of people don't realize there's two revenue streams in the parking world.
there
right?
is.
You got your
There is,
revenue stream for people that are paying for parking, no foul, they pay for 2 hours, they save 2 hours, that's a revenue stream. Then the other revenue stream is gonna be for the people that paid for 2 hours and stayed for 6, and they got a parking ticket. So now you have fine revenue coming in.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that, I
Just to
don't know. you
Put
know,
it in the realm of understanding, July was $36,000 in parking fines. As opposed to, probably, want to say 80 to 85,000, maybe 90,000 in revenue from just parking payments.
People paying.
So I'd rather not issue tickets than, than forego the money. I'd rather them just pay and then we don't have to issue tickets. So that's just why I haven't like reissued, like somebody got a parking ticket and 2 hours later into the shift, the meter kid walks over and writes them another ticket. I don't have them do that. So that leaves an even worse taste when you see 4 tickets on somebody's car because, yeah, well, they got drunk the night before and they couldn't drive. So we just lambasted them with tickets. We don't do that.
DUI is a lot more expensive than 4 tickets.
It is, it is.
It's gonna cost them a lot more.
Clarity question, so, I guess I wasn't aware how much Park Mobile we have around town, is it everywhere?
It is in every zone except for Beach Road parking lot and Westbrook Road. Now that's gonna change because the county wants in on the Park Mobile app.
So is
So
this something that they act in tangent, like you still have to pay the percentages to Park Mobile or whatever?
we pay nothing to Park Mobile. The consumer pays directly. So like say it's $2 an hour on your card that you set up when you use the app, you get charged $2.30 as a service fee, which goes directly. That's how they make their money. We don't pay anything.
How about you on the collections for a second? So
Yeah.
walk me through this. All right, so your collections called, what's the hook? What are they able to do if someone says, "To the heck with you, I'm not paying"?
Oh, they can attach their income tax refunds. their
But
check
they don't have a
refunds.
judgment. Well, they have the ticket.
Oh, but they're empowered to do that though.
By who?
State of New York.
So where?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not an expert on the collections portion of it. But just to be clear, with collections, that cost is also passed to the violator. That's not paid for by the village. You know, I mean, the theory being, you started this mess in the first place. You got a ticket, you didn't pay it. Why should the town or the village have to pay, the collections effort? So what we recommend and what everybody does is whatever the cost of our collections is determined to be, and we only determine that by talking to the town by saying, or the village, by saying, how many tickets do you write a year? And you tell us, I don't know, 10,000. Then we say, well, how many generally don't get paid? And you say, well, 2,000. And then we say, what's the average fine amount? So once we know those numbers, then we come up with a percentage that we charge for collections. But what you do is you escalate your fine by that amount before we extract it and go after the violator. So they're actually paying for the cost of their own collections, which is the way it should be. But, we have collections in just about every state. There's a couple we don't. Massachusetts, for some reason, is difficult. I don't know why.
In general, it's difficult.
In general, they're difficult. But in New York, I mean, many, many places are using our collections, and you know, what the specific legalities are of that, I don't know, you know, that will be something for our legal department. to explain.
We've never done it.
Yeah.
It doubles after 15 days
Yep,
and I don't know what happens to the ones that don't get paid.
yeah, and that's a fine escalation, and every.
And that's it, yeah.
Many places do that as well, that's very common. And I don't know if it's on the ticket example I gave you or not, yeah, it is. So if you look at the ticket sample that I think you have there, you'll see that the fine on this, the one I wrote today here, the initial fine was $50, then it says after the 17th of December, it's $50, then after the 30th of December, it goes to $70. And if it's not paid on the 19th of December, it goes to $100. That's very common.
Hmm.
You know, we do that just about every place we do business, you know, and that's what we call fine escalations. So, and that's smart to do that.
And to your point before, I think you said that, I don't remember which community it was, but we make more in parking than we do in taxation.
Yeah.
Or in our.
Gettysburg. It's the
Gettysburg,
number- It's
that
the
was it,
number
yeah,
two source of
yeah.
revenue for Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Yep. Yeah.
So it's our number one
Yeah, it's our
source, so
number
that's why it's
I
such
remember
a,
you told me that.
it's a hot button issue. I've had the city of Saratoga spend hours with them on the phone when they were trying to figure out how much money they could make and they're planning on implementing.
Yeah, well,
I
they're.
charged them for my time, but I
Yeah,
didn't.
They're using our system now. And I think it was Saratoga Springs, they're the ones I think that just brought pay stations in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they,
so-
in the lots that they
When-
have.
When I went up there initially and showed them our system, there was a big debate going on in Saratoga Springs, whether they wanted to use pay stations or not. And I left there feeling like, they're not gonna do it. I think within 3 or 4 months, they bought all kinds of pay stations, you know? I mean, listen, it's a money generator. You know, I was in the police department many, many years ago, and my town didn't care about revenue from parking. You know, we wrote $2 tickets, you know, for the old, single space meters. And even adjusting for inflation, that wasn't a lot of money. You know, we were probably losing money writing tickets for $2, but the town didn't care. All they cared about was turning the meters over to keep the merchants happy, you know, so that their customer base would, you know, find parking. Since I've been in this business, I can tell you that every town cares about the revenue from parking today, and there's a lot of reasons for that. Municipal budgets have been hammered a little bit, you know, there's cap laws that we had in New Jersey that greatly affected our budgets and you know, municipal budgets in New Jersey. So today, all the towns care about the revenue that comes from parking enforcement. If they say they don't, they're kidding you. I would say they're lying, but I don't want to call them liars, but you know, I think every town cares about parking enforcement today. And kiosks are one way to, you know, and you don't want to just look at it through the eyes of revenue either. You know, I mean, there's all kinds of papers that have been written about the importance of parking management, right? Parking is a finite resource. You only have so many parking spaces in your village, and you want to give everybody a fair opportunity to take advantage of those parking spaces. And there's only so many ways to do it. And, you know, having time limited parking, and a lot of towns just have the signage, which we've all seen, you know, 2-hour parking only. They don't have any meters, they don't have anything else. And in those cases, they have to time the vehicle stays, you know, the chalk. So, you know, but I can tell you this, but with all these things that we've talked about, if you don't have an enforcement program, it all fails. People learn quickly, you know, if people come here and they park in your lot that you give us the example of, and nothing happens, they're gonna keep parking there. You know, the only thing that keeps all these programs viable is if they know that there's gonna be a consequence. That's how people operate. Right? We all look into that. There's no consequence. I know many towns where they've called me and they said, you know, we haven't enforced parking here for years. And it's like pandemonium in their towns. People park everywhere because they know that nobody's gonna, you know, get a ticket for it. And then they try to reverse that trend, you know, through enforcement. And very often, you know, they can bring it back, but you don't want to get in that situation in the first place.
All right, well, I think we have beat parking to death tonight.
That's what I do.
Yes, no, I appreciate you coming, John, and if you'd stick around for the rest of the meeting, I'd like to speak more with you. Everybody exhausted from talking about parking, or are we good? John, you got something to say?
I'm not, I mean, I appreciate John's presentation. He's a hell of a salesman. He's been at it a while and, you know, whether you go with his system or something else, that's not, you know, that's for the board to decide, but I
Mhm.
think, you know, on a more philosophical level, part of the reason I'm sitting in this room is because of our parking policy 30 years ago. I was running late for a wedding, couldn't find a quarter to put in the meter. went to the wedding, ran back out, and I had a nice little note that said, welcome to Lake George Village. Our parking helps pay for events and things that we do here. You know, and I didn't get a ticket, however, I should have. I would have
You got a warning.
And I'll be honest with you, I left Lake George Village thinking, what a cool place. So parking makes a difference in people's views. I think the current policy, and I don't even think it's aggressive enforcement. It might even be semi-passive. Parking meter policy is detrimental to what's happening in Lake George, especially in the winter months. I've read Sasha's letter. I've talked to a lot of merchants. It's been quantified that this policy is affecting business in Lake George Village in the off-season. I think we need to look at that. We need to look at what other communities are doing and how they're driving their off-season business. I will tell you, I have lost money keeping the Moose Tooth open for 2 winters. In an effort to do what everybody in town says, stay open, we need more businesses open. Guess what? I'm not doing it anymore. And I'm definitely not doing it so that the village of Lake George can make $80,000 in parking. I just don't see it. And I'll be honest, I'm here every day. There is nobody in this town right now. It is a serious problem that you guys ought to be spending a lot of time worrying about.
We are.
0 customers today.
It is a problem. There is a
want
serious, issue happening.
There's no lights on, you're not gonna make that $80,000 anymore.
Right, you're trying to.
I'm
make-
telling you what we budgeted for, what we've historically made.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
mostly in February, and I'll be honest with you. Yeah, November, December, January, they suck. They're not great months for you to be in business, and I get it. And we're constantly talking about things to bring to the town to help at least the weekends. We're not gonna help midweek,
So why
It's
can't
not
you
gonna
start
happen
this-
this
why
time of
can't you
year.
Start this winter, the first of the year.
because our budget ends in June. We're already planning on this
$80,000
revenue coming in.
You already spent somewhere?
That's not how it works. Linda, I'm not gonna take the time to explain municipal finance to you. It doesn't work like that. Just let that be said. And we're gonna work on it. We're gonna do our best. I'm gonna get with Gina. I think I saw her here. About some promotional stuff that we can do. And we're gonna take care of this. We're gonna do what I said.
In fairness, in the summer, I mean, there's concerts, there's fireworks, there's, trash cans. I mean, you guys are doing a lot of stuff that costs a lot of money.
Mhm.
And I've always defended, especially on Canada Street, the parking that you do have helps clean the bathrooms and do a lot of the stuff you do. When people do complain about it. I think the winter months it's a much different equation. And I think all of us in this room came out tonight, not to listen to John, but to figure out like,
Yeah,
hey,
anyway.
we really, we want to drive traffic here as much as we can. Especially in the off season, and it sounds like the board is generally moving in that direction. And I think right after Columbus Day, I mean, we have a big Oktoberfest, we fill those meters up, you probably made $80,000 that weekend. I hope.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe.
Oh, the weekend.
But maybe, but that helps, and I think those are the things we can do, but after that, it really slows down for everybody. And I think, the chicken or the egg, nothing's open, but we want the part, you kind of have to, and I think it's a very good first step for the village to figure out how to shave that 80,000 out of the budget somewhere. And if it can be shaved somehow, somewhere between now and your next budget cycle, that would be an awesome thing. Maybe it's in March, maybe it's in April, maybe it's
Preferably February, but we're gonna look into it and see
if
what we
we're
can do.
Carnival, I think Canada Street, what we should pay for. But I think when we look at March and April.
Yeah, we literally gotta figure that one out.
I
hear you.
But the rest of I mean, I pulled into Giuseppe's to get a slice of pizza, and I'm thinking, in preparation for the meeting today, I'm supposed to put money in the meter right now. They're probably happy a guy bought a slice of pizza, and it's really, the policy, if promoted correctly, can make a difference in the impact to the viewer. I'm an example of that, from 30 years.
Yeah.
Seriously, board, whatever we can do.
Are they still together?
They are actually.
Okay, good.
Great,
Just,
great.
a little track record I'm trying to keep.
But to try to figure out something here, and I think it is an opportunity to promote the off-season. From your perspective, but also with Gina and the chamber and all the businesses that are here. When a business is on the fence, you could say, listen, we bit the bullet on parking. We want you to be open. We're trying to help as a municipality.
Sure, so if we do that, if we agree to do this for, whether we can do it this year or whether we do it next year, will you stay open?
I will.
Well, you're gonna be open, thank you.
Yes, but I would do more hours than I have done.
I know Linda's open, I know
I mean,
Laura's open, John, you're the only one that closed.
Can I jump in here as one person who's open
Yeah,
up the
yeah,
board?
please,
I've got two hotels that are open right now. I don't know, 60 rooms. I think one of them's filled tonight. I'm spending probably $12,000 to $15,000 a month just to light up my two hotels because I want the northern end of the village to look bright. Nancy, you're welcome. Go to Mario's and everywhere else here. Anybody who's watching from out of town, we're open. That's the bigger problem though, because I recognize that there's got to be some of us that stick our heads out of the foxhole and be the first ones, but it hurts when we're losing money.
Yeah.
And it just, that it doesn't suck, it hurts. It really physically hurts because you're killing yourself and you're asking yourself why. And I'm doing, not to get all Bill Clinton on everybody, but I feel your pain because I'm suffering it myself.
I will say too, that there's a lot of weight on the winter carnival's shoulders this winter. They are literally, we are looking to them to carry
Yeah.
us this entire winter.
And that's not
And,
fair.
you know, we don't have the lights that we had last year to the same extent.
Mhm.
We don't have, there's just so much that we have lost in comparison over the last few years. That if we were to put that out there, that it's free parking for the entire winter carnival, I feel like the benefit of that would be substantial to get people to come for winter carnival.
Let that be a start to it. There's got to be more.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I agree with you, but and Gina, that comes to the conversation we've had, right? Is it's got to be part of something bigger.
Yeah.
John, you said publicity, I think promoting PR on it a couple of times, more than just that, but yes. But there's got to be something more because, and it is kind of unfair to ask Winter Carnival to shoulder 4 or 5 months of our expenses in 4 or 5 weekends, but
Yeah.
here we are, Nancy and everybody, thank you.
We can only do that if the weather cooperates.
It's not just the businesses, right? It's all of our employees.
Yeah.
I am desperately trying to give hours to the
Yeah.
servers, to the cooks, to the bussers, to the whomever, and it's really hard to do. It's really hard to keep them getting a steady paycheck also, when the business itself is losing money just by opening their doors.
Yep.
And I know I have to be, but Linda doesn't have to be open, Sasha doesn't have to be open, John doesn't have to be open. And that's gonna hurt the employees who live here even more than it hurts them or any of the rest of us.
I think we can all agree there's not an easy solution on this.
Yeah.
However, though,
Yeah.
what I will say is this, and let's end at least this part on a happy note. I think you've got a brain trust in this room that can find that solution. It's not gonna be an easy one. You know, certainly, I've got both hats on here as a business owner, but also as a representative of this board. Where I can speak for my fellow board members, I'm guessing that we would support anything we can do to actually drive foot traffic and drive your businesses in the winter. More heads in my beds produces more, people at Nancy's bar or at Linda's bar, there's some more people stopping in by you, Sasha, to pick up a bottle of wine on the way home. John, you're on the other end of town, but I love your burgers, so, yeah.
With the Moose Tooth Grill, I've had it open the last 2 winters. I've lost $60,000 in 2 winters.
I believe it.
It is extremely expensive with wages in New York State to be open.
Wages, electricity
And
bills
heat.
on it. Oh,
Yeah,
the
it
heat
was
killed
worth
them.
trying it because there was, the winter stream and the ice castles and various things. We don't have any of that. The middle of town, our anchor is a chain link fence now with construction banners on it. I understand
Well, when's a
why,
good time to do that? I mean,
It is.
obviously not the summer.
But it's not gonna drive, nobody's gonna drive up to look at that. You know what I mean?
I do every day.
But it's a tough, if there's one winter that you guys should be considering it to offset what's happening right now. This would be a winter to try to roll up our sleeves and figure out, can we cut the budget somewhere? Can we figure something out? And what can we do there?
And we're gonna look into
And I
that.
appreciate- Efficiencies and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff certainly help. I think your meter enforcement policies have been fair, last, few years. I think that's fine. It is what it is, but I think really, there's the best way to get more revenue is to get more people here in the summer and the other times of the year. I think that's what we ought to be focusing on. Even more so than that $80,000. How do we get more people here in June next year flat
And then
out.
what, raise the rates for the meters in June to offset the?
No, not
the
to
loss?
raise the rate.
I'm sorry, I'm listening and it, you know, it's like, it's so easy. And I gotta, cause I'm board representative for the people and the customers and everyone else here. I went on vacation 2 years ago down to South Carolina, went down to one of the Carolina beaches. It was May. I was charged $6 an hour to park.
You going back?
Huh?
You going back?
No, I'm not going back down to the
got
park.
charged
I go down to
$2 an hour
visit.
outside of
But,
Republic
but I'm
Park
just
with
saying,
Maine.
I'm
I'm
just
not
saying,
going
I mean, you know, with that, you know, and that was off season for them too, but it's, you know, I'm sure they did what they had to do. And, you know, we try to keep our rates down. We're trying to do everything we can not to raise taxes, not to, so if we have to sit there and maybe burden visitors up to the village, you know, because, so we don't burden the owners of businesses. You know, it's not, we are really trying to figure out the best way we can. Doing things.
I can tell you guys do care a lot, and that I think it is refreshing to hear that you even care and that you're listening, because it hasn't always happened in the past. So I do appreciate that you're trying to find that balance.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. And this type of turnout, we never have.
This is
Which-
great, yeah.
Yeah, I actually enjoy the discussion and I welcome any ideas and thoughts and Gina and I have a pretty open dialogue, so we talk about this type of stuff all the time. So to see your faces in here this evening is it's welcome to me. So thank you.
And Mayor, I think the new stage, the promotion of that next year, when that opens up, that's gonna drive people downtown. I'm assuming we're lots of events, it's gonna, you know, there's gonna be things happening. That's my point, Joe, is.
No, trust me, it's,
Through
we're
events,
constantly
whatever
thinking,
it is.
you know, we're always, what
Well,
can we
we're-
do
we're-
in the winter? Can
We'll have
we
the
sit there and
capability
get
of
us
going
some kind
later
of a
into the
sleigh
year
ride and
with
stuff?
weekend
Can we-
show.
Yeah, which would be awesome.
I mean,
Yeah.
you know, we're always trying to, you know, get some kind of a conversation of what can we do in the winter to build? You know, we're looking to get an ice rink and to do an ice rink. Unfortunately, it didn't work out as well as we hoped it would last year.
It'll come back, Bill. We'll
No,
put it back in.
but I'm just saying though, we're always trying to figure out something to bring people.
Like the
here in
lights at the
winter.
lake last year was tough to justify to the county why I asked them for an extra $150,000 from the Police Athletic League. And you know,
Yeah.
it put bums in seats, but it didn't necessarily put heads in beds. Basically was my justification to the county when they asked, you know, how we spent that money, and to go back to them again, I'm like, I got nothing.
They got other money we need to.
I don't know what they
ask the
spent
county
in-
for.
Yeah. I don't know what they spent when they were here, or if, you know, a lot of people didn't even get out of their car, they just drove by.
Yeah.
Because they were used to the Washington Park thing and Albany. And obviously we can't charge for it because it's visible from everywhere. So it was a tough sell, and kind of basically the gist I got from the county was, no, not doing that again.
But to John's point, it showed that we were alive and there was at least something going
It
on in
did.
Lake George. And the previous year we had Western Green, which I recognize there was financial issues there, but it was something, you know, you'd see the fort all purple and the smoke coming off the fort. It was a
Mhm.
cool thing if
Yeah.
you're walking down by Beach Road. It showed
The
life.
ice castle.
And
That's
Ice
something we
Castles
don't
was
have
good.
here. Yeah.
I did that hoping
Life.
that was a Band-Aid for, and I've talked to Ice Castles 4 times last year to see if, hey, what do you think about coming back? What do you think about?
got
They
the ice
said
now.
if we knew it was gonna be the winter you had this past winter, we would have been there. But I thought that would spurn them
know.
into, hey, give us another shot, but they didn't, so.
But it is a concern, this particular winter. You
Well,
know, I think
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
a lot of things that aren't happening, that have happened in the past, and there's some negatives that are happening, and I think, you know, to look at the current parking situation, you know, and I understand budgets and where you are, but anything that you guys can do to put a little spark in somebody's mind that they can walk, they can drive to Lake George Village, just walk around, and it's free. That is gonna bring some people.
I mean, you know, and it's not that we're heavily enforced the winter parking, you know, and
say
if people, but.
Yeah.
You know, when people come in, hey, did you pay for the parking? No, we didn't pay for the parking. Oh, all right. Do you ask the customers if they pay for parking?
A lot of them
If
do,
they
a lot
come
of them
in?
Find out, and then they're upset.
That's
Yeah,
good, salty
they do
taste
it
in their
before.
mouth.
You know,
Because
Feel
it says
cheated.
Strictly enforced on the sticker on.
So asking them actually
makes it worse.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or they.
Don't ask him anymore.
They'll ask like how, I'm 2 hours, but I'm here for 3. How much do they really enforce it a lot? No, don't worry about it. They don't enforce it at all. Really? They don't enforce it at all? Why did I pay anything? And it's just, we need a clear policy. We need something that drives business here in the winter, you know?
Mhm.
And I think what we're saving in not having some events in town because the park's closed, I mean, you could subtract that from the 80 and keep, you know.
There's never anything in the park unless it's carnival. In the
And
off
then the
season.
only time something's going on in the carnival, if we got a lake that's frozen pretty good, that bringing a lot of people up here and if Mother
We
Nature's
got a
not
good chance
working
this
for
year.
us.
It's a good
Yeah.
start.
Huh?
Something else still operates whether we like.
Oh, no, I know you guys do a great job of it too, and I'm not, putting anything down, but if the lake froze nice, like it did 25 years ago,
Or even last year.
it would be,
Yeah. It's breathtaking. I mean, and with Winter Carnival, I mean, I've had years where it was, not ice over, and the events are great, but there was just something breathtaking about being out in the middle of the lake, watching a snowmobile go. I mean, there's just something special about that gives you that moment in Lake George, right? I mean, not that, listen, you can't control nature, but we can have ice. So this year, hopefully that gets us there, but it doesn't solve the.
This is not, I'm sorry, this question is not related to parking, but it just came up.
Thank God.
How are we doing on the timeline for making sure that the park is open and the stage is ready for next spring? I've heard some, and this could be a rumor, that's why I'm asking you all, that
Mhm.
it's behind schedule.
It's 2 weeks behind schedule.
Okay, so what is the anticipated?
They're gonna be able to make it up, according to them. When you get a foundation in and the steel is holding some things up, but the hollow
what is
core
the target
planks,
date?
I'm sorry,
What's the target date, please?
June 1.
June 1.
Yeah, so if we're 2 weeks, it's actually July 1, but I didn't tell them that. Don't tell them. No, I've been saying June 1 since we started the,
I've done plenty of construction projects,
Mhm.
and it's rare that they, unfortunately, it's tough to make.
that's why I have a month of a cushion, and now I'm down to 2 weeks, but they say they can make it back up and get us up and running. We were hoping for prom, but prom is so early this year, it's not possible. Yeah,
I posted again,
thank you for that.
which I did last year.
Yeah. But yeah, no, we're roughly 2 weeks, but we did hit water on the east wall footings and had had that very quickly re-engineered to put an extra foot of gravel in to pour on. I mean, they pour bridge abutments underwater, so it's not critical, it's not strength sacrifice, but it is. I had
delay.
to lose my mind on a conference call, which I'm not super proud of, a little bit, but not super proud of. I said some words I shouldn't have said, but should have seen a snapshot of that, but they showed up every day after that, so.
And the other, and so even though the park, the stage and everything is let's call it June 1st.
Mhm.
When will the barricades up on Canada Street get moved a little bit further down the hill so it doesn't look it looks more inviting, I guess?
Well,
Do we have a date on when they think?
No, I don't have, the project completion probably, when they pull their trailer out.
So we think the fencing is gonna be up all the way to June 1st.
Most likely, unless
well,
there's safety issues
Yeah.
that they have to
Okay.
keep, the public out.
if
and-
we shrank them down to go past the walkway, if it got to a point it was feasible doing that, they'd be charging us more money to move the fence.
Yeah, we moved it on our own for the polar plunge, and we'll move it again for New Year's Day polar plunge.
How much did they charge us? when we did-
$1,500,
Is that what they charge us to?
just to move it for John's event. And I'm not asking you for that, John.
I rented the park months in advance.
I know,
No.
I know.
I knew nothing about. the
Yeah,
fence.
no,
Yeah.
but.
But
that
no,
was
we
just to
made the
move
mistake
fence.
of asking them to move it, and they said, oh yeah, no problem, and then we got an invoice. So we just moved it ourselves for polar plunge, and we'll do it again on New Year's Day.
That's just good information to have as a business owner who's
Mhm.
trying to
Yep.
set expectations for the guests who are gonna be here Memorial Day weekend, for example, or any other weekend in May.
Yeah, we're hopeful that we can get the trailers out of there by Memorial Day, if they don't need them. And then maybe we could shrink use
Well,
the top part of the park, but I'm gonna play that. by
Very
ear.
small top part, because they're gonna be working on seating.
They're
up there.
doing, well, they're not, they're gonna do the repointing of that down to the lower level, but
So I hadn't walked down through there. Are we gonna be blocked, like the road that goes down the hill, down kind of to where the dock is that blocked?
No. The lower or lower
McDonald Street to the McDonald Pier,
It's
or
not
the one in the
blocked, no.
middle of the park,
Down, you're talking about this.
across from you.
The walkway in the Park Road?
I'm so bad at it.
Referencing
Is
the
it-
Center
is-
Parkway.
Yeah, no, that's gonna be closed.
That's not blocked.
To go to.
It's like brick. Oh, Beach Club, yeah, so that's gonna be blocked?
No,
Yeah.
no.
Oh, okay.
That's
All right.
It's Center Parkway.
That's open, the bathrooms are open.
Bathrooms gonna be open?
Yeah, for Carnival, sure. They're open now.
They're open.
Okay, so so that's not all blocked or anything.
No.
Mm-mm, no. Like the lakefront walkway is pretty much unhindered, but in front of the park, like you have to walk on the beach.
Okay.
There, until you get back up to by
You
the
can get down
bathrooms.
and go to the bathrooms down to the dock.
Yeah.
Is that gonna be all winter like that?
Yeah,
Really?
Spring.
it's a construction zone. I mean, I don't know when there's no better time to do it than the winter.
No, there's no, I was just thinking of walkway for people. I mean, there's no walkway, there's no. I mean, even, I was just down there today, there's no, even the steps aren't even shoveled to go down to the beach. So.
I go
I mean,
on the
if that's
ramp.
where you- If that's where you're pointing them to, is that where you're, so coming around the corner by the water, the pump station, there's no more sidewalks all the way along. People can't walk down there.
Correct. I mean, they can walk. I walk on the beach. I walk every day and I just walk on the beach. I can't shovel the beach for people, but I mean, I can take a look at the steps if they're not shoveled and make sure they
She
are.
understands what I'm talking.
The sidewalks open right up.
I know
to the
exactly
road.
what you're talking
Exactly what I'm talking about. But I'm just saying, you're, okay, that's all I'm asking.
Yeah.
Because they're parking equipment on the sidewalk?
They're using that as a, access point to the, foundation to pour the footings to build and erect the steel and,
In the wintertime,
oh yeah,
okay. I thought they stopped for a certain amount of time.
they're never stopping. Not on my watch. I already yelled at them once. They're not gonna stop again.
Unless they can't get the product.
You better hope they don't.
Yeah, that's right. They better hope they don't. All right, let's move on. Thank you, everyone. Healthy discussion. I appreciate you coming in. See you, Luke. Resolutions. Rat stands, approval of deposit. Normally, we don't buy anything or pay for anything until we get it in our hands. The rat stands, are manufactured and sold out of England. And they wanted to be paid ahead of time because, they have to ship them across the Atlantic. These were the choice. These are, for the bid for the stands and chairs for the, amphitheater for our orchestras to play in. And, we've come to an agreement with them. They'll take 50% deposit, which, Julie has checked and we can do with board approval. But we would do a 50% deposit and then the remaining 50 when we receive the stands and chairs. They come, they're just what was specified by Alex Lombard from the Music Fest. And so we're relying on him. A whole bunch of stuff after the meeting. If you care to look, we got 8 pallets of musical equipment, right, in the other room, courtesy of the DRI grant that we won. So
That's amazing.
yeah, we've got timpanis and conga drums. I played with the tambourine earlier. I'm like a child when it comes to that. But yeah, so we got those delivered today. So this was the final part of the delivery that we haven't ordered because we have to come to terms with them. So I would recommend we and I'll make it as a form of a motion that we deposit the 50% to have them shipped over and then pay them upon our approval and that the quantity and quality is right where we want.
Second it.
Seconded by trustee Gregor. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Everyone's aye. Stock is the original manufacturer of the 28-foot slide that was pierced by a falling limb a few years ago. I don't know what, well, it predates me. I think Ice Castles was still here. So I've been dealing with the county. I thought the county was gonna replace it. They did not, or were not able to get a response from the company. I don't know why. Maybe they got somebody new because my first chance of reaching out, they called back. So anyway, we're getting the slide manufactured. similar thing, they have to create the slide. So what was the deposit? It wasn't 50%, was it?
Well, they offered us two options, one to pay 100% deposit with no administration fee, or pay a 50% deposit with a 7% administration fee. Which,
I think we wanted to.
yeah, we're gonna be reimbursed the full
We're
amount.
not paying
My
anything for it.
suggestion
We're
would be
coming out
to
of the
not pay any extra fees
unallocated fund
for-
from Wood Park, so.
for no reason. No, we're
Yeah.
gonna be reimbursed.
We're gonna be
the full amount
reimbursed 100%.
By the county, so.
That's an expensive slide.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
big
because, but
expensive
it's
slide.
because it's custom made, they will not build until they receive prepayment. So that's the reason we're,
But well, also to, as by way of an update, I also took the playground that was in Shepherd Park and put it in Wood Park, which drastically needed a new playground.
Yeah.
So yes, it's gently used, but there is a playground in Wood Park now that wasn't there before. You might notice if you go down, how terrible it was before. So this slide will make a big difference
My
too.
daughter missed the old.
Oh, this
slide.
is that
Yeah.
long one that went down.
28 foot, yeah. So that, I'd like to get that, approved to, in whatever manner, Julie decides is best. I'll take that
like I said,
motion.
every
I'll make
week.
that a motion.
Motion by trustee Master Domenico, second.
Second that motion.
Second by trustee Filomeno. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Mayor votes aye. CT mail, what was that change order?
$1,000.
Is that for the? Oh, yeah. Sorry, I gotta catch up with my book here. I got ahead of myself.
Number,
Number 4.
well, we're number 4 in your book.
Oh, I'm on 5. That's
Yeah.
why I can't find it. We're still in rat stands. Here we go. Slide. So many papers on this one.
Number 2.
This is, oh, this is a change order for the engineering service that we needed. Regarding
pillars.
soils when we hit the water on,
Redoing the pillar.
just adding,
Yeah.
number 2 stone and compressing it for. So they wanted to charge us $3,000. I basically told them to pound salt and they came back with 1,000, so. There's engineering in a nutshell for you.
Okay.
So,
I'll make that motion.
yeah, take that motion from trustee Joe. Trustee Mentor seconded. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Did we get another contract from Ian? It's on there, right?
From who?
Ian,
Oh, no, I never got.
we didn't get
anything from
it.
them. Nope.
So I did want to mention that we've contracted with Ian Communications. If you've noticed, we're doing many more Facebook posts and the quality of them has not only gone up, but increased. That's because we have former Post Star, former chamber employee Amanda Metzger, who works for Ian Communications, has been our social media
Liaison.
marketing guru, and I forget what they charged us. We did a trial. I think it was $650 a month. Is that right? And it's money well spent. I mean, we're getting an extreme reach as far as our posts. I think we've doubled our followers. So I think it's at the end of the day, it's money well spent. So I just want to get a feel for what the board thinks, because we haven't gotten another contract from them. It was for 3 months, and that 3 months has stopped, and they're still doing the work. So want to see how you guys feel about it. Yeah, let's let it play out. Let's see what happens. No, we're still paying them.
So you're promoting like events and stuff?
Yeah,
Is that-
promoting Light Up the Village. Any event that happens, your event will end up promoting on not really on your behalf, but on the behalf of the
The
village
village.
to get people in. So yeah,
And then-
we advertise on social media for that. We're probably gonna add Instagram in there. So it's kind of in our summer concert series, obviously, Winter Carnival.
I had an conversation with Amanda at Light Up the Village, so we're collaborating with her as well, so we can share your post to help build your.
Yeah, she did a
we're
nice
working with
post. I don't know if you
her.
saw it. It was really nice.
Also pictures of the events that too.
Pictures
sometimes,
of the event,
During and. after.
or
I
of the
mean,
prior years,
right.
and it all, you know, we provide her with stuff and she magically makes it happen, so, I'm feeling good about it, I just wanna get board's position on it, I think it's,
No, they're doing a great job on that. I gotta look into that one. Didn't see that.
I'll make the motion. to extend the contract.
motion to extend the contract, when it's presented, if,
Assuming it stays at
Assume- yeah.
50 months.
Assuming, yeah, the status.
Yeah.
Status quo.
okay. Motion second, Gregor Mentor. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. All right, now RFPs, food vendor, Fridays at the Lake, we got one person. I would feel better if we rebid it, and part of the reason for me is the type of food that they're selling, like, I really have never been huge on having a food vendor, but people don't want to leave the concert and they want to eat something. But I also,
Especially
last
during-
year, we talked about it, too, if you weren't here when we talked about it, but there was a Mexican food vendor, and I would not put them across the street from a Mexican restaurant. Same thing with this company. I don't dislike them. I think their food is delicious, but they're right across the street from a Mediterranean restaurant. So I kind of want a little more variety, and I want more bids. I think we owe it
No, we're
to,
not in a rush, so.
not in a rush. We have plenty of time. So I
think
would pass
People might be a little leery maybe until they hear a little more
Mhm.
on the park being ready.
Yeah.
You know, they don't want to put a bid in and not have a place.
It could be, half of them don't even know the
No,
park's
But I'm
closed
just
right now,
saying,
but
I think we could
I
hold
think
out and
I'd,
then
I'd like to table
reissue,
that one and rebid it.
Motion to.
Motion to rebid, I guess.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by trustee Master Domenico, seconded by trustee Mentor. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say
Because
nay.
if we had some local,
Beer and wine service, moving on, Joe. Fridays at the Lake, Common Roots Brewing Company. Now, we did talk. I talked to a few of you offline about it, and I wish John was still here. Maybe getting our own beer trailer, rather than paying someone to be there. Is that essentially kind of what we're doing, right?
No,
No, they're paying us.
they pay us
They
32.
pay us 3,200 and we don't have to. Well, it's just Fridays. We serve it. We have to serve it.
we don't pay to.
Tim does it. Tim and Linda serve it. They do it on the other nights that they're there during the festivals.
They do it, yeah, they do it on like the Ronald
Like
McDonald.
Ronald
or something
McDonald
like
and
that.
Kelly's
But
Angels, but on
otherwise,
Fridays, we Tim and Linda serve it.
They'd have been
Yeah,
all summer.
well, we have
yeah.
volunteer all summer long.
Oh, I thought they manned it.
No, they show up. They man it during the other events, but not on Fridays.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, I'm fine with it.
Did not know that.
There's a couple bidders there, right?
I don't know if anybody else bid.
Yes, no, there were three.
There were three?
The highest, the one that offered the most money is Common Roots.
Here it is.
The other ones are like 2,400, I think.
Middle bid was 2,800, 2,808,
And then 32.
and
yeah.
then,
I mean, why don't we do that? Why don't we do
and
this?
then the lowest bidder was 1,000.
If they're only 400 apart, maybe they'll go to 35 or 3,600. Try to push them up a little bit. I mean, it goes back to the parking situation, right? We basically have to find $80,000. Might be a way to find an extra 400 or 500. And we're not gonna find 80K just in one place.
No, but
Right,
we
you're gonna
also
find
really
1,000.
only need it for February when, it's
Getting creative.
roughly 40. Getting creative here.
Hey, listen.
We have
Yeah.
to cover it 30,000,
I mean,
basically.
yeah, so still, even we gotta cover 30. We find another 1,000 here, 500 there.
Make a
You can't
mouthful, I like it.
negotiate, you've gotta rebid.
It's a
Yeah.
bid,
Yeah.
it's a bid.
You can't
this is a bid.
negotiate. It's a bid.
This is a bit, and I would make a motion to.
And they
accept the
closed
bid
it
from-
too.
Okay, your motion, I'll second it. Sure. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
So you second?
I did. Office server and computer installation and integrations. Jules, take it away.
We need 5 computers installed. We need a new server installed. We have the server, we have the computers. We received, I sent out 5 requests for proposals. I had two people that we didn't get responses from or were not, no response. I said, no, thank you. The first that you have in front of you is from the gentleman, Upstate Tech Support, who we currently use Innovative Technologies. They currently do, our Office 365. They do our website managing. They came in at, $5,426.36 to upgrade us all and do all 5 computers, and
It's a lot.
that's for that. And then for the server itself, installation and integrating, 15,045. The next quote quote that we received.
Future proof, yeah, they got a lot of stuff on this one.
Was from a Johnson Cone for Future Proof Me. The workstation system upgrades would be $3,000. And then the install of our server would be 47, so his bid was 7,700 total. And then the final one that we received was from Orion Wilson of Edmonds GovTech. And their total all in, for the IT computer setup would be 1,800, and the setup of the new server would be 2,400, so they came in at $4,200. If you, this again is gonna be, I'm not making a recommendation on this because there's differences and I'm not the expert on it as far as, you know, who can provide the best service. I know that historically you've had good responses from Innovative Technologies. They are definitely the highest and they are over what we have budgeted. We don't have enough, so we would have to find money if you were to decide on them. The others, we do have enough. If you select one of the other two, we do have enough to cover theirs in our budget, because we budgeted what we based it was on. I do know that there's an explanation from Innovative Tech as to why they're saying there's his changes from last year to now are on there, because he's saying there's some issues that he ran into recently and that he knows that he would have to address prior to installing all of those. I did invite them all
I see they're on.
to
and
come in
Ryan's here.
on that, so. Like I said, this one I'm not weighing in on because there's too much that I don't understand about why one would be way more expensive than another.
Now, did he tell you what these little,
You can speak to any of them. There's
Oh,
3
they're
of
all
them.
on there.
One is here
Okay.
and then 2 are on.
all right, no, I mean,
What's that? Sure.
Click on all Innovative Technologies.
I don't know. Do you go?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Hey, Paul. Yes.
Hey, how you doing?
Oh, it should be coming out of the speakers. Hang on.
Those are on.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
It's true. Sorry about that.
No problem.
Things right. We'll have to listen to that. Go ahead, Paul.
First, thanks for considering our proposal. I'm not sure if I couldn't hear Jose well. I don't know if there was a specific question there or where we wanted to start on this.
it was cold.
No, he just said it was cold. He wasn't you. No, I mean, I guess if you wanted to take the opportunity to explain why it's $20,000 in your eyes and as opposed to 7,700 or 4,200.
What he had before.
So I haven't seen the other proposals, so I'm just going to make an assumption there. What's included in our proposal is actually a complete infrastructure transformation that remediates the compliance and security issues that you currently have in your current configuration. Prices would be significantly lower if this was simply a server migration. However, based on what we've seen in our experience inside the server, there's several things that need to be changed that are out of compliance. I don't want to go into too too much detail on that in a public session. Certainly available to speak about that in an executive session. If the board chooses to do so. But there are several issues with compliance and security that not only makes this a server migration, but those systems actually need to be rebuilt, restructured, and configured properly for both security and compliance reasons.
Okay, thanks, Paul. Ryan, since you're here, you wanna chime in at all? No? Isn't he on or? No? Okay.
No.
John. John Chacon, ask Future to unmute if you would. You might have fallen asleep.
Well, the discussion.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hey, John, yes.
Hey, so what questions do you have about this? How the pricing is?
Well, yeah, I mean, the disparity of the 20,000 to 7,700.
I mean, can't talk about what anybody else charged, but I know I spoke to my guy when it came to migration and any issues that we possibly could be running into, and we feel like we budgeted properly for that, so that in case there is an issue when it comes to compliance or settings, that we'll make sure we can cover it and make sure we're not going to go over budget. So.
Okay, thank you, John.
But I don't know how any of the other pricing was done, so.
Right.
I'm just gonna go back on mute.
Okay, thanks, John. I don't know, I just looking, I'm a numbers guy, I'd like to kind of shoot the middle here. I know Future Proof's work. I know Paul's work. I'm sure Edmunds GovTech is just as capable, but I don't see them as being here to speak to it, and you did invite them, right? Okay. What do you guys think? Want to talk about it? Any ideas? And we were still using Paul for the support. We just don't have the money budgeted for that much of a cost.
Yeah.
Does this have to get voted on today? Are we tied?
We want to, yes, we want to get going on
Well,
this.
I mean-
Schedule the
It's-
computers and all.
We got the
all one time.
computers in, they're delivered. We're
Yeah.
not sitting on our hands
We
any
have the
longer.
servers, we have the computers, we have everything here as far as the physical.
So we have
requirements.
So we have the physical hardware, but
Mhm.
the issue is that our system itself might have some corruption. Yeah, it's.
Take a motion
Or,
for who we will award
Okay.
the server migration and computer installation.
I bother John with one more question, actually. John, you still on?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, so what, it sounds like if I'm understanding correctly, the big disparity on the 20,000 versus the 7,700 is that there may be, I'm not a techie, so I'm gonna use very ignorant layman's terms. There may be a compliance problem and some bugs in the system that need to get worked out. That costs a significant amount of money more. You said that you guys have budgeted for that sort of a situation. Is that accurate?
I mean, I believe we did. I'm not seeing personally what could cause the pricing to go that high for this, but yeah, we budgeted for some issues, so I'm not
And
I mean, I can't speak on other people's pricing. I don't know what they are. I can't speak on other people's pricing, but I feel like what I priced out is more than enough to cover it.
Okay.
And then I've spoken to
Just
my
that
director.
that risk is assumed by
It's
you
not
guys or
sealed
somebody
bid.
else?
It's not a sealed bid.
Oh,
Say that one more time.
request- it's
And
an
any
RFP.
overages, that risk is assumed by your company or is it being assumed by the village?
No, by our company.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Nothing further.
I'd like to make that motion to approve the future proof. For the contract.
I'll take motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by trustee Gregor. Motion made by trustee Filomeno. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. And I vote aye. Thank you, gentlemen.
Make sure he's gonna be able to.
All right, so number 4 on our not shrinking agenda, rebid the bounce house RFP because we didn't get the bounce house bid. Is this for Mondays? Or-
Yes.
Yeah,
Well, it's,
Um,
yeah, I honestly don't have it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's the one that's currently out to bid.
yeah, so,
I'll make a motion.
thank you. Motion made by trustee Mentor to rebid, second by trustee Gregor. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Mayor votes aye. Special events facilities use applications, the rec center. Baseball fields from April 1st. Why does that say June, July 3rd?
Where-
April 1st to July 3rd.
Yeah,
where does it-
that's what I
No,
know.
April 1st to
No.
June, July 3rd.
I don't see that.
I don't have it.
Yeah, it's, well, she's got up here July.
It's,
3rd, so-
it's on the
On the
a printed page.
Yeah,
on
oh,
the-
on their
the-
email.
You scroll through. But yeah, no, this is just for the youth commission.
Yeah, this is youth.
Yeah, we
sports
don't
director.
want any, we don't want any, conflicts with, our youth commission baseball, so we don't normally rent the fields to anybody else during the time period from April 1st to July, beginning of July. Usually we'll get somebody with a tournament later in July or August, sometime September. So I would make a motion to approve that application. Actually, let's take them both together. The summer program is, I'm not sure if she needs anything up there. Because I'm looking at the details of
It's
this, and
just basically to say yes, they can use the field.
Yeah.
Whatever they need.
as we always do with youth commission, that's probably soccer practice. So I'll make a motion
It's,
to approve both the youth commission baseball softball fields and the summer program for Kathy O'Brien of the youth commission,
I will second that.
seconded by trustee Mentor, who grew up in the youth commission, I might add. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Chair votes aye. Winter Carnival, you guys are up. You waited long enough. You deserve it. Winter Carnival and Parade, that's Nancy. New Year's Day Polar Plunge is Linda, still here, not asleep back there. Fee for,
Last year, they charged $75. The question is, do we charge $75, same as last year, as they're only using portion of what they did last year?
they are only using a portion, but I gotta pay guys to go there and move the fence. So I don't think 75 is too much to ask. Do you think that's okay, Linda? $75 like we charged you last year? Okay. That won't cover it, but it's okay. I'm gonna move the fence anyway. I'll make a motion to approve both Winter Carnival and parades, waiving the fees for the carnival because they've got no park to use. And only charging Linda $75.
Second that.
Seconded by trustee Gregor. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Wood Park, Skate Park, Winter Carnival, take it away, Jess.
So. Sand.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Stretch it
We know where you are. All that parking talk.
So this year, we are extending the Winter Carnival for the 5th weekend as well into March, that first weekend in March. For 5 weekends of winter fun. I guess this is not the year to charge for parking on the ice.
We got a system, though.
We're not gonna charge for parking, we're gonna charge for entrance on the ice.
I guess this isn't a good time to bring up our parking ticket that we got down below. But with
I know
that
the
being
lawyer.
said, the 5th weekend, Charlotte Wood Park. We're gonna have the lumberjack event coming back, so we're very excited
cool.
about that. So 2nd year. Last year was its first and it was a really great event. Beautiful, of course, with the backdrop. We had it in Shepherd's Park, we had the lake right there. Photo ops were great. But I think it can be just as good. I've had some dialogue with the county as well regarding the usage. And they understand the footprint that's needed. We've had a lot of conversation with the group coming in, and really what they need is just open space. They're going to create their own platforms to work off of. But the event is really cool. You know, they do the climbing of the logs and then chopping it. It's just a fun, and it's a big open
Yeah.
space. So vision for that this year is to try to incorporate and get involved, because it is a Warren County event as well.
Mhm.
Nowadays, it's just for funding, as we all know. Wanting to get the Maple Fest folks involved. Had a nice conversation last year after the carnival. Our family went up, we did a tour, spoke to a lot of them. You know, they're trying to survive too, you know, and that weekend, usually, what is it, the third weekend, second or third in March. So they were really excited and thought, oh, that would be great to come down and try to kick off their weekend. So I'm envisioning having some Maple Fest vendors there, just everything that ties in. Also had an awesome conversation with the 518 Jeep group that we have kicking off our winter carnival this year. They would like to come back and be in our parade, because we are looking to have the parade that last weekend to kind of end the carnival. But we are talking, and I do need to just have some dialogue and figure out, but just having the Jeeps involved with some stuff too. Stuff with logs and like climbing logs and just different fun stuff. Just anything that will bring people here.
Just don't tear up the park.
Yeah.
Sasha needs it.
Well, I want to get it nice and, you know, mudded and rutted up.
No.
for you.
When, as he pointed, one of the only events there.
Yeah, it's, so
Maybe
no,
twice.
that's why I wanted to preface with the staging that the lumberjack events they're going to build, so we're not rutting and creating that. And obviously, any driving or anything that would happen in there would be on the circular area with the asphalt. So just trying to promote that area too. I think, you know, we all talk about this all the time. It's a beautiful area that really needs to be expanded onto. So I guess taking advantage of this year and trying to be creative, I just think it makes sense to move our footprint there. And that weekend, we've decided, right, to have the full plunge back to the original spot, which was Dog Beach area. That used to be the original. where it
Oh, yeah.
originated.
Yeah.
And I
Yep.
have some really cool pictures of the original one there.
And we had the Wienermobile reach out to us.
Again?
And they- yeah, and they're coming back, they wanna come back.
They're bringing it back,
Reached out
Charlie.
to
I thought
us,
that was
which is
yours.
Really cool. So they want to come, so they're coming that weekend too. So we're trying to team up with them right now and see what we can do to promote like a big, I guess, Oscar Mayer lumberjack, maple,
Sure.
whatever we can do.
Find a way to
And
tie it
a
in.
big
contest.
cookout, like, and then a big cookout, right? So
Oscar
for
Mayer hot
John
dog?
Carr too, because I know he had his event going on, so he is moving that, I think as everyone is aware, we had that conversation, he's moving it to that following
Puppy
weekend.
Fest.
Yeah, so,
No,
no, not
Barrel
the
Fest.
Barrel Fest.
Oh, Barrel Fest.
Yeah, so this way we have the first weekend of Winter Carnival, or the last weekend of Winter Carnival, that first weekend in March, and then he's gonna do an event, so that's trying to bridge the gap, so.
That's the same conversation we've been having with a lot of the
Yeah.
folks doing ice bars. Is like, hey,
try to-
space them out. Don't all do them the same weekend.
Mhm. So.
It's kind of just
You
shooting
know,
your load
hopefully
there.
we'll drive a clientele and kind of get that niche here, and then they might repeat. We're doing what we can do, obviously, and we're gonna continue. And I just want to point out to you all, so you're aware and well-versed on this, but our progressive schedule, you know, our calendar's progressive. So we're just gonna keep adding to it as we see fit and can. So the more events, the merrier. But that is our intent, and just to kind of spread it out. And then with the space being limited down there in Shepherd's Park,
You took a second look at
we did Blaze Park.
Blaze
there.
Park. Yeah.
I definitely think we can make that work. Obviously, we don't want to move, right?
Nobody
Event
wants
that's
to,
worked For 60+ years, so, but we're gonna do what we need to do. I still think we've discussed this as a committee, we're gonna still have the Fuller Plunge over there. Because they can still access the beach area as long as the bathrooms are open.
Yeah, they'll be open.
They won't be blocked with the fencing.
No, they're not blocked with the
Okay.
fencing. Not currently, and they're not gonna be. Chaz?
Will we still have access to the
We
shed
have one
and, well, where I usually do the music, the amp, that kind of,
Those
that
rooms.
building?
Yeah. That's still accessible.
Okay.
We just can't put any sheds down there
Okay.
in that location because there's gonna be construction vehicles going by and Tim's gotta get to the pump station to check it and it would pose to be a bit of a problem. Next year is
Didn't
gonna
they
be.
used to put didn't they put a hot chocolate truck or they had a wagon down there, right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
not gonna be
not
down there?
this year, no.
Okay.
Right, I have one question.
Yes, dear.
Regarding the, guard room. We used to store some of our,
shirts and things in there. Can we still get in there and store them, seeing that we are now set up?
Yeah, you can still store stuff, you just can't set up out front. And-
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, so I don't mind you using the room, no, you guys still have a key and everything, so.
All right,
Still have my key. Yeah,
all right. So that's great.
Okay.
That's our plan, and any communications moving forward, we'll keep you updated, clearly. So
Got my number.
along with the business owner, we're trying to really collaborate, with that, and really, and the last thing is, it did come up in a chamber meeting that we had, and we kind of talked about this, and I was gonna share with this meeting tonight, because we have a meeting, a budget meeting. The signage that we wanted to promote for the Winter Carnival, is that fence? I know you have construction site signage. Is that accessible for us to be doing some stuff with to kind of? Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's important to have the signage. Make it clear, you know. people will
Well,
shop,
it'll-
they'll be
it'll-
confused.
pretty it up a little bit
Yeah,
too. I
right.
mean, it's
Signage.
not the prettiest stuff in the world.
To, you know, promote our businesses and stuff that are.
I'll let anybody put. a
Anyone,
sign
yeah,
up. Yeah.
anyone that.
And
has a
Sasha, you can
business
put a
open-
sign, say, turn around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, look behind you, there's wine.
Where we put our, ice bench for people for photos?
We used to put it
Oh,
up.
you
on
put sign,
the-
yeah, I know.
Can they still get at the top of the?
You can get to the
street
upper
there?
portion of the southern side of the park, past by the fountain.
Well,
Or I would put it in Blaze Park if that's where your activities are gonna be.
The only, yeah, I mean, we could
Again,
maybe
with
take a
the
walk
sun.
down there and try to identify, we just can't have it on like the concrete or, you know, paved areas because with the heat.
Uh-huh.
Radiate can just create too much.
Bless you.
Grass, well, we don't want grass, we're gonna have snow and ice. But the snow and ice area is good, that's what's gonna work for us best, so if we can identify a location.
We'll take a look.
What about
Yeah,
that area that used to have that little,
Yeah.
that little walk around area you had, we had in the trees? Like
Oh,
you
that's
came off a beach
Got a
road?
castle on it.
Oh, is it in there?
Yeah,
In the hole in the woods?
Yeah,
there?
yeah.
Okay.
yeah, it's got a lot of beautiful light, it's so beautiful, it was beautiful for Light Up the Vision, so obvious for Light Up the Vision. Light Up the
it's a
Village.
new event, let me write that down.
I'm blending
There we
everything
go.
right now, but Light Up the Village,
Yeah.
when it lit up, we sat there as a committee, you know.
Yep.
after we
Yeah,
had
you
our
grabbed me
trauma
by the collar
response.
and tackled me.
We,
Yes, we did, I'm sorry.
we saw it all, and, we saw what it could be.
You saw the potential there, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
So we do just need to coordinate with our sheds from Garden Time. Adam's
ready
gonna
to be
be,
delivered.
they're ready, but we held them off because they were originally going down to Shepherd's Park, so.
yeah,
Just to make sure the footprint is there where you want them exactly.
yeah,
don't
let's
wanna block any
go over
walkways
it
and
tomorrow. I
stuff.
don't know who's got time or availability.
I do.
Okay, Nance, we'll take a look at it.
Wonderful.
All right,
Perfect.
all right,
Thank you.
Wood Park Skate Park Lumberjack Show.
Go to a budget meeting.
I'm sorry, dear.
I'm sorry to run on you.
Oh, that's okay. That's all right. Get out of here, would you? Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Linda, you need anything?
Yeah, for New Year's Day, Chaz is the DJ, will he have access to that back room too for his, plug in his stuff?
Yep. Okay, thanks, everyone. So I'd like to take a
They're approving it.
motion to approve the Winter Carnival Lumberjack Show. Motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Mayor Pro Tem. Merry Christmas, guys.
Have a nice Christmas.
Okay, let's get through the rest of this. Firehouse, I'm gonna take all three of these at once. Shower and farewell Colette Parsons, first birthday, Giovanna Pagan. First birthday, Molly Warrington, 1 day apart. They're all members and I think, right?
No,
Or do we get a-
only the first one's a
Only
member.
the first one's a member, are they paying?
The first one would not, they don't have to.
No, the first one would not have to.
The rest would have to do the deposit. and
Yeah.
Pay the fee. I don't know. The second one, from Giovanna, it doesn't have it circled as to whether it's just the meeting rooms or with the kitchen. I don't know which fee it will be until we hear back from them.
And this is one with kitchen, $100 a day.
Yeah,
Okay, so
So-
approve them, yeah,
with
subject to
the fee.
further explanation.
Yeah.
There's that a motion by trustee Mentor, and there was a second by trustee Gregor. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Mayor votes aye. Shepherd Park, Lake George Prom Coronation. Don't think that's gonna happen. Not on April 25th, anyway. But we will approve it should there, before the grace of God, if it happens.
Fast than we expected.
And the senior give back day, which could happen. We'll just relocate it to another location, probably the beach. So I'll make a motion to approve both of the school functions. Second,
Second it.
seconded by trustee Master Domenico. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Parade, the Village St. Patrick's Day Parade. I'd feel silly if I made the motion, but we're doing a parade.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by trustee Joe, seconded by trustee Mike,
Waiving the, fees.
and we're not paying any fees because it's our parade. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Request for Octax. Hey, you stuck around. Hey, guys. Congratulations on your award this morning. That was great.
Yeah, I got the call. A few hours ago, so that was great.
Oh, see, I found out before she did. Did want to talk. Did you ever think of doing a second event? Come on, Brad.
We've been talking about it.
Okay, so listen, everybody, like, yes. And I know that everybody wants us to, we need to get this running smoothly, and I need a profit that I can hold on to, that I can then invest in that, because it's really about having a body to help him to be able to do that. So, you know, part of that is something that we are really working hard at doing this year, in addition to obviously keeping it going and always trying to grow attendance. But I don't know if you've seen my letter that I've sent around about the issues of operating an event at Wood Park, but
Well,
think
actually,
it's
yeah,
important.
and I discussed it at my most recent county meeting, talking about, and I go to a park on my only
Okay.
committee I serve on is Park
Yeah.
O&M at the county. Keith is usually there with me.
Yeah.
And we talked about it at length recently, and Kevin Garrity said, we're not talking about this anymore. We're gonna fix this. And
that's great. And he-
we
he's
want to
doing great.
get like a landscape architect to really take a look at Wood Park. It's a hard place to put on events. Believe me, I've been trying. And you've been trying as well. And
Yeah.
you know, there's no protection from the weather. And the one thing that's most indicative of whether or not your event's going to be successful is weather.
And I really want it, you know how hard I've driven those issues of the physical issues and weather and how it impacted it. I really want to make it clear, because at the county meeting I was at, they tried to kind of pawn it off on the Parks Department, which really bothered me, because that tearing the tables, and it really is such an occupancy tax issue. There's a lot more issues there that are beyond just parks, and then whether it's the operations, the promotion, and just, you know, making it, you know, something like the vendors issue, you know, all of those things that make it really hard for an event promoter to put an event on there. So I feel like I'm really trying to, as a chamber member and a local business owner, I'm trying to drive that home while still trying to put on my own event there, which is a challenge. We have been looking at other venues, which makes me sick to my stomach, just because of the cost to put an event on there. In addition to just rising costs that we're all experiencing, right? So, I think, I was probably visibly jumping out of my skin at the occupancy tax meeting when I found out about a $15,000
You
award.
took a haircut there.
Yeah, yeah. And so, you know, I gave the case for how the costs have risen and how, you know, 45,000 that we got in 2023, what that means to cut it down to 31.5 that we got the year before, and then even 15 this year, when again, I'm one of the only events that's been successful 10 years in a row at that park. And I would love to do another event. I don't know if I would do it there, but I would do another event for sure. And I want.
We have another park that's under construction
Yeah,
right now
exactly, right?
that would be easier for you to get to.
Yeah, yeah.
But no, I do understand the hardship of Wood Park, believe me.
So, so with getting the 25,000, from the town, that I found out about today, That brings us to 40. Our ask is for 50, so it would be great if we could make that up. It would put us in a really good position for the following year. And maybe we can finally just get out of just doing this once a year.
Well, how about, and I don't know if the board wants to weigh in, but how about 15? And then that puts you 5,000 over your target.
I mean, that would be.
And then like seriously think about a second event.
Yeah,
Not
I
this
mean,
year, next year.
I will tell you too, I'm super, super concerned just from my own experience as a business owner and like the talks that we had today about parking. I am really concerned about what we're gonna get for sponsorship support, because, you know, we don't just raise money from government, obviously, we're also trying to raise sponsorship funds, and we have seen a consistent decline in the sponsorship funding that we've been able to generate from local businesses. So I'm really, really worried about that this year as well. So that would definitely help. And trust me, we're not gonna stop trying. Like, we are still gonna go hard at it like we always do. But I'm just feeling the climate. I have a feeling that's gonna be a bit tougher this year. So that will definitely help, and I appreciate that.
Did you have anything you wanted to add?
I don't think so.
Rob, anything you wanted to add?
Just with respect to the second event, if we can, piggybacking on our earlier conversation with parking, figuring out ways, if we narrow down the year to 52 weekends and we figure out a way to get something in this village, each one of those 52 weekends, it benefits you, it benefits me, it benefits every taxpayer.
Yeah.
So to the extent that we can partner, public and private, and bring the chamber in and whatnot, we need to do this. So you've obviously have a track record of putting on successful events. So back up the mayor on this one, please give some serious consideration, and also let us know what we can do.
Okay, thank you. I really appreciate the support. And can I just add, and I don't know what influence that you can have at Wood Park this year, but if there's one single thing that I would love to see done there this year, would be just making that electrical so that we can use it. That was put in for ice castles.
We spoke of that too at the most recent county meeting. They were pretty clear, and the village is only a 32% owner there. They were pretty clear that they would want, sorry, I got a frog in my throat, that they would want the event sponsors to foot the bill on that, i.e. Christian Dutcher or.
It's gonna be a long-term thing.
I understand, but I had volunteered to get a quote to see really just how much, because there was kind of some people throwing numbers out, and I'm following up with our electric, Craig, who's phenomenal. No, we could put either a step-down transformer there,
Yeah, exactly.
or conversion to 220 volts, to make it usable.
'Cause the
It's
problem-
almost like you just bring your own spider boxes, because we can't really,
I don't know what a spider box
It's
is,
a-
but
Brad knows.
Power outside of it.
But we'll see, and I'll go before the county again, once we get a hard price. And I think it was just like, they don't know what they don't know, so they didn't want to do anything about it. And I get it.
yeah, 'cause
And
the problem is the water is on the side of the electrical. And
Mhm.
so it really ties our hands to do the significant things that you need to be able to do. And if it could flip, that would help a lot.
it would, yeah, and it's off right now, obviously, the power's off. But I will work on that, getting a real-time quote. I think there was some people that said, oh, well, you need to do, I think Keith, you were there, right?
Yeah.
It was a $15,000 quote, which I don't think
Yeah,
Craigers
that
can,
was the, part of the original, installation.
yeah,
And.
that's what boggles my mind about
Yeah,
ice castles, is they put 60 grand into a water line.
Yeah.
75 into an electrical service, and then they walked away.
Yeah.
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 I mean, where's your ROI?
Well, and
Ice castles, can you hear me?
Can we get them back?
That Mormon dollar.
That is
Yeah.
not something standalone event voter to have to put the bill. I think to ask Christian to do that is just kind of crazy, to be honest.
Agreed,
You know?
agreed.
But thank you for any help that you can lend there. I appreciate it.
I've been planning that second event since I took this job.
Great.
We'll get there.
Golf cart, escorts from the $1 Million Beach or Beach Road parking lot. Do like a circulator trolley with one of those golf cart limos, and that way, they don't have to walk so far. The young ladies that like to shop there.
Brett, just one
Oh, yeah.
quick question.
Yeah.
This is beyond this one, but for the possible second one, what, you mentioned you need a second person, what would you estimate your cost would be on something like that?
Well, I mean,
Ballpark,
if you have somebody who's talented these days, you're gonna need,
let's not get someone who's bad, yeah, we know that.
I mean, I would.
We got
say
plenty of that.
minimum of 60,000, you know,
Just getting a sense,
yeah, yeah.
so you're about 60,000 away from being able to put on another production, is what you're saying.
Yeah,
Let's make it official. Let's get some money.
Yep.
Make a motion to award $15,000 to the Sasha Adirondack Wine Festival.
Second.
Seconded by trustee Gregor. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, say nay. Mayor votes aye.
You guys need Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Merry Christmas. Any more dueling pianos in the future?
Oh, hell yes.
Is there? Cool.
You gotta come back.
I will. Thank you. Adirondack chapter of the Antique and Classic Boat Society, request for octax for $4,000.
Can I talk on this one? Okay,
Yeah.
so I spoke with Ms. Hoffman today. The 3,000 people that they estimate are just people wandering by the docks. Apparently.
Yeah.
They get about 40 to 50 vendors in there, or boats in there. I'm not confident. That's $100 per person that we're spending on the occupancy tax. And this is a weekend during Traverse Weekend when we're gonna be pretty busy in the village anyway. I'd like to see if we can get that number cut down a little bit. I recognize it's only 4,000, but at the same point in time, you see what just happened with Sasha for an extra $5,000. You know, the money matters. And if it's a weekend where we're gonna be mostly selling out and our bars are gonna be full and everybody else is going to be here already anyway. I don't see why we're spending on acquisition cost $100 per person. If that's all it is. So I would like to trim that number. I'd like to trim it a lot more, but I'd like to trim at least to 2,000, cut it in half.
We can award whatever we want. We don't have to give them what they asked for. Like we didn't give her what she asked for. She asked for 25.
Fair enough. And
So
the other
you want to make a suggestion and I'll support it. And if they cry foul, they'll cry foul.
Well, I mean,
And I'm fine with it. Anywhere we save money is fine with me and just want to spend it in the right places. And so you have a suggestion?
I would say-
Absolutely.
I would say give them $1,000 at this point, because it sounds like and so it's been around for 52 years. I get it's been around for a long time, but I don't see the link and the nexus between actually putting heads in beds or anything really in this village and, you know, giving away that money. And especially after today's discussion for the last 3 hours or 2 hours, we've been talking about ways to get the village busy during the winter, during shoulder seasons. It makes absolutely no sense to take money that we could be putting towards those time periods and investing it in something like Traverse Weekend. Yeah. And it's nothing, no disrespect to that event. It's just a matter of we have a finite resource of money. And we now have a stated purpose of really generating, you know, business in the village beyond August, right, beyond October. So I would say bring it down to $1,000.
Is that a motion?
That is a motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Second by trustee Filomeno. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Antique Classic Boat Society awarded $1,000.
Any nay? Any nay?
There's a nay? There's a nay. Okay. Still carries. Kester Associates Motor Failure Reimbursement. Tim Senior, in his infinite wisdom, reached out to Kester, who we've spent, I don't know, Timmy, how many motors failed? 4 motors failed in the first 2 years of operation of the wastewater treatment plant. The wear rings or bearings failed on them, disintegrated, basically.
There's supposed to be, there's inadequate grounding of the shaft.
Yeah. So Tim reached out and said, hey, you know, is it Greg?
Right, yeah.
Greg. He, I don't know, did he take over someone else's position?
Yeah, so Mark Kester was president of Kester Associates.
Yeah.
He stepped aside and let Greg take it.
Yeah, so Greg, when approached by Tim, said, "No, I want to make this right." So we had a meeting on Zoom and then he came a couple of days later, and he said, you know, we've spent a lot of this money. He figured, I think Tim figured ballpark, if we got $36,000 back, 36 grand is nothing to sneeze at, right? So they want to make it right by us and all we have to do is send them a statement and, yeah, and we have to accept it. So I'll take a motion to accept the reimbursement by Kester.
I'll second that.
There you go. Motion and second.
Not quite 80 grand, but.
Chipping away, my friend, chipping away. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Mayor votes aye. This is a letter of intent. We went and searched the properties. Jim Liebram from Warren County Soil and Water wants to go on our property up by the rec center around the transfer station and inspect trees for the woolly adelgid ash boring beetle and other. What's the other one? Isn't there a hemlock one?
That's the hemlock.
This is the hemlock one.
Yes.
So yeah, it wasn't the ash boring. This is the hemlock. Then possibly inject some trees.
They got a new process that they're trying. It's a pilot area, a pilot try.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, he's the guy to put that together.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, I would trust Jimmy with my life. And I don't see any reason they couldn't do some sampling on our property. And I tried to list all of the parcels that it would be involved with. The one is the big one where the cross-country ski trails are, and there's another one that's adjacent to that, and then the one around the transfer station. So I think I listed them all, and I told him this morning on an email that we're gonna approve it tonight, because I think we will. I don't see why we wouldn't. And that if he trespassed, I wouldn't fine him.
I think we're within MOU with them anyway.
Yeah, we probably have it. They're just
Yeah.
dotting i's and crossing t's and.
Yeah.
But, so I'll take a motion for the ability to sign this agreement.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by trustee Master Domenico. Is there a second?
I'll say that much.
Seconded by trustee Mentor. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. There it is. Water changes, motion. A couple final reads in there. An adjustment.
I'll second Bob's motion.
Who made it? Rap made it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Sorry.
Gregor Mentor.
Yeah.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
All right, one last one.
Transfers and audits.
You have in front of you the upgraded one. Basically, we discovered, there was a short pay for Keith's paycheck, so we had to recut a check, do an additional check, so it wasn't included in the original thing, because it happened after.
Not a donation.
So there's a correction on that, so that's where you'll see, that.
Water payroll and general payroll.
Yeah.
So I'll make a motion to approve those.
Motion by trustee Mentor on the floor. Is there a second? Seconded by trustee Filomeno. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. No nays. There goes aye. Keith, you got anything?
Good right now.
If anybody who says you have something, I'm. Timmy, you got anything? No, sorry, I had to sit through that.
Sorry, you had to sit through that.
Yeah, it's not your village.
I'm used to it.
Yeah, right?